Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Take it out in post!
The best movie.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Real Dumb Debates.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Ooh, yeah. This is the Wrestle Debate. So, I'm your master of ceremonies, Kyle. We have with us the Internet's Jimmy Toledo.
Often replicated, never duplicated.
We have
Too sweet to be sour.
We have our
Other
fearless
things.
leader, Matt.
I'm not supposed to be in this.
And we have Matt number 2.
You could call me Bell Villain.
Yeah. The Bell Villain. All right, so
Such a heel.
let's get down to it
I
now.
need to share this shit.
Now, Belleville is a newcomer here,
Hi.
a challenger, if you will. Some may say.
A young lion.
Yeah. So I want to, and also for those of you who maybe have never seen a debate before, hell of a one to tune into the first time. But I'm gonna go over a few little things here. So just because I have a little bit different setup than some of the other guys too. When you hear this sound, that means stop talking. Okay. So first we have 4 questions. I'm gonna give you guys 15 minutes, and at the end of that 15 minutes, you'll hear the buzzer. That means it's time to go into closing arguments. And then I think I might have a 5-minute time limit on closing arguments for each person. During closing arguments, only the one person can talk. But during the round proper, you guys just argue, free for all, at will. Then we'll have an order, starting with Jim here.
I think I should be first.
Okay, well, you know what? That's fair because
I'm the
you're
older
new.
brother.
No, you're being a heel.
You're the oldest person here, I think. Right?
So,
You
the
gotta
first,
say it like that. That sounds awesome. Thanks, fuckface.
so the first question of the first round is most dangerous move, and we'll start with Belleville. I want you guys to just tell me what you picked. We'll save all the explanation for. The
I
actual
actually
argument.
forgot what I picked. I think we all picked. Didn't we all accidentally pick the same thing on that one?
Yeah. Well, you
this
and
one.
Matt did. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa, I should have prepared.
I have it. If you
What
want me
was
to just
it?
tell you, it was flying headbutt. It was
Oh
flying
yeah,
headbutt.
the reason why the flying headbutt.
Well,
is the-
we'll get to the reasons.
Oh,
after the
okay.
argument, yeah.
But yeah, flying headbutt was definitely my pick.
All right, and lastly,
I went with the pile driver, like proper, not like tombstone variation.
just normal pile driver.
The Jerry Lawler ass pile driver.
Right.
And I chose the Vertebreaker.
Who did the vertebrae?
So the Vertebreaker was done most famously by the Hurricane. I think it was an old school Joshi move, but essentially what the Vertebreaker is, it's a back asswards double underhook pile driver done behind the back. So it's all the danger of a pile driver, plus you don't see where the fuck you're putting, which adds a little bit of an extra danger element to the pile driver.
It sounds to me though that with that one, it's more in the hands of the recipient to protect themselves. Whereas with this, you're the pile driver proper. You're just kind of guiding them, and if you fuck that up, then they have a snap neck, as has been evidenced throughout all of wrestling history.
Have you seen a Vertebreaker? So
My argument for the
Yeah.
flying headbutt. Who was it that said that they had regretted even inventing it?
I don't remember who said they invented it, but I know who made it famous.
Yeah, and I'll get into that because that's part of my closing on that. But it's not so much the opponent who takes the flying headbutt that it's the most dangerous move. It's the person who performs it. They have no protection. They're just diving willy-nilly at their body, and you can't even put your hands to take the blunt. You're supposed to be leading with your fucking head.
Right.
And then your head is supposed to hit another motherfucker on the head.
Or not on the head, but just
It's
anywhere.
intended to be head-to-head contact. It's supposed to be upper body at best, and it's aimed head-to-head. And that is, like, ridiculously sketch. There's no protection from it. For either people, but mostly for the person giving it out.
Well, I think the ideal with the diving headbutt is to just kind of land on your face. Not land on your face, but like land
Guess
on
where
your
your face is? It's
Land
on your
on-
goddamn head.
but land on your chest and make it look like you make contact
The
and not actually make contact.
underhook pile driver that you're talking about,
So-
there's a lot of like shoulder space to take the bomb.
No, it's so essentially what you do is you get behind them and then you hook up the arms and then you do like a weird turn flip thing and then they're like legs up behind you.
Right.
You're holding
on
them up
their
by
neck and
that,
shoulders.
and then you're dropping on your ass and putting them on their neck.
I still feel like a no protected headshot.
And that's not on the recipient to do it safely. That's on you to make sure they have enough height to where their neck isn't getting jammed into their shoulders.
But that's like, okay, so if I'm not
So-
wrong, that's like a finisher for a few people.
It is a
It's
finisher.
their signature move.
It is a signature move for a few people, but if you get into some wild ass Japanese wrestling, they'll pull it out of their ass.
Yeah, they'll do it on a willy-nilly.
Like they'll do
It's
it
like
just for a high spot.
Yeah, they'll do it as a preliminary, like a work spot.
But yeah, but the thing is you mess that up by a couple inches, you're putting someone in the hospital at best.
Yeah, but that's such a
true
no.
of a lot of moves, though.
Same with the pile driver.
Same with the
too.
pile driver.
That if
You fuck up the pile driver by a couple of inches, you're putting them in the hospital at best. But you can at least see what you're doing. You can look down and be like, oh, I need to pull them up a few inches. You can't do that with the vertebraker. They're behind your back.
So I'm unclear on a lot of like WWE, WCW, ECW back in the day shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh, that was
Japan
done.
wrestling.
But no, that was
stuff like
okay.
that.
The Hurricane, Shane Helms, that was his finisher
Yeah, that was
in WWE.
Shane or Gregory?
Um,
I said Sugar Shane Helms, baby.
there are two people in WWE now allowed to do a pile driver, and that is
Undertaker
and
and Kane.
Kane, because they do the tombstone variant and they have the height to protect the recipient.
Right, but I mean, this is all of wrestling we're talking about, and you can do a pile driver anywhere, and everybody knows as long as you're like 3 inches above the knee, you're doing good on pile driver. Like that's pretty well known, and like I said, you can see that you can judge your distance and you can drop. Whereas with the vertebraker, you have to just kind of guess that you're doing it good and they're going to lift up right. And
How many careers has the vertebraker ended?
I would have to look that up. I would say a couple at least.
I can say for a fact, pile driver has ended 2.
Okay.
it's halted a lot too. But
I
I'm not
mean-
here to defend your argument.
Yeah, we could always argue the botched
Or the
Owen Hart
two.
pile driver
Yeah.
on Stone Cold Steve Austin that arguably boosted his career
Because it altered. It
because
made it change.
that's what led. Because when Stone Cold
Did-
couldn't wrestle, he went on to feud with Vince McMahon and came out raising hell every week because he wasn't allowed to wrestle, popping stunners and drinking beers,
Fucking, you said
becoming
you-
the
you-
hero of the working
You,
man.
you
all because
mispronounced Steve Weisers.
it's popping Steve Weisers and raising hell like a Texas rattlesnake should.
Let's ask Stone Cold if he'd rather do a lot of mic work or turn his fucking head.
Let's also wonder.
I don't think he can complain about how his
Stone
life turned
Cold
out.
Kill a motherfucker with a pile driver? Didn't he? Because I'm pretty sure he fucking did.
Who did
I
he
think-
kill?
I think he did. I think he broke a motherfucker's neck in the WWE.
No, that was the Owen Hart on him.
No, I'm pretty sure he did it as well because there's this like creepy like wrestling lore that's like karmatically how he like earned it because he killed somebody. The dude died not in the ring, but he was taken out alive and then later hours died from a broken neck.
But yeah, if somebody
Yet again, no.
if
He
somebody
has the
could
wrong
fact
move.
check who's been killed by the vertebraker, that would be dope.
Can someone do my work for me?
Well, no, that's part of because I can't look it up. I'm not allowed to.
Oh, really?
Try to.
Uh,
Yeah, phone's away unless
Yeah.
no one likes
Chris, can you put that back in the
or
mic?
whose careers have been ended by the vertebraker.
My bad.
Uh,
Are we still like? Cause I'm just gonna say it then. Chris Benoit.
yeah, no, you should
diving
always come out
headbutt,
with the full.
Chris Benoit, and let's not like, yeah, you might
But that
have
was-
insta death with like, but this is
Yeah.
long term. How many motherfuckers like develop CTE to such it was undiagnosed for so long, but that was a pretty popular move for many wrestlers because they would just, it looks disgusting, and then later, years later, they're fucking murdering their family and fucking popping pills because their fucking neck and CTE damage. Like, I felt for the long game, the diving headbutt has like ruined many people's lives.
Long game, sure, but I mean the immediate impact and
You can see-
the danger
you said yes.
factor of the vertebraker of just that being a behind the back fucking pile driver.
I can see what you're saying because you're going in blind,
Yeah,
but what's even scarier is that like, because for one, you're prepping that move way up high.
Yeah.
If you don't have it up high, you're just gonna drop it.
yeah.
You know, there's no guarantee when you fucking leave that top corner where you're gonna go. The only thing you know is that you're going to hurt
Well, you
your
can
head.
direct yourself in a jump, man. Like
In midair?
I
Are
mean,
you a flying fucking squirrel?
I'm not a flying fucking squirrel, but there's some motherfuckers in pro wrestling,
Not everybody's Will Ospreay.
right? That can fix their fucking trajectory. Look at Pac.
My neck is hurting.
I was about to say the man in the gravity forgot, of course.
Yeah, like, but for real though, like, behind your back, it's impossible to judge exactly where that motherfucker's neck is going to drop.
Just to change the tone of our arguing, I think all of you guys have great ideas, but you're wrong. I mean, they're all lethal, but the long game, it's the diving headbutt. Mostly because you do it for a year and you're fucking yourself over. You're gonna go insane.
I don't think it's going to be over the course of a year, but long term, sure, why not? But I'm talking immediate fucking threat to your opponent.
Who are we
It's-
trying to convince? Is it Kyle? Are you?
Kyle, yeah.
I'm Ryan, man. You know I'm Ryan. We all know I'm Ryan.
He said, he
Swear I knew it all along.
I mean, if you can convince the other two, then.
Give up.
Well,
But it won't happen.
I'm gonna say it like just to go ahead and gauge this. Luke is the most wrong out of the two wrong answers.
bullshit.
Because you feel it. You feel it whenever you're putting it in. You feel where you're at. And if you're like, oh shit, that's wrong, you're just gonna flop the dude out of it. You're not gonna sell it.
There's no backing out of it. You're gonna get booed out of the fucking building. You back out of a vertebrae.
You're gonna do it again.
You're
You're
gonna-
not getting
They're gonna
booed again.
shove you into the ropes, like
Yeah.
They
what
can't
broke
shove
of
out
it.
of that. They're flipped upside
Well, they
down
can
behind
if
your
you let
back at a
go.
double
It's
underhook.
done.
Like,
That's the job of the announcers to make it to sell it right. Oh no, he didn't have him all the way.
Yeah.
Whenever you fuck up a headbutt, you're still fucking your head up.
You
It's
might-
like you get it right, you're fucking your head up. You get it wrong, you're fucking your head up.
well, like I said, you get it right. You're landing on your chest and you're not making any actual contact with anybody. And you're just making it look like you hit them in the head with it. But you get it wrong. You're putting your head into a soft part of their body in the best case scenario, or on their fucking head if you're a dumbass. So yeah, long term, I guess if you're a dumbass, the flying headbutt is
Are you calling one of the best technicians in the ring, Chris Benoit, the name who's not allowed to be said in most circles?
yeah. The Voldemort of wrestling is a fucking dumbass.
he is.
He was he didn't
You whisper his name in these halls.
he didn't get where he was for fucking rocket science. I can tell you that much.
He had a heart of gold.
But yeah, you had a heart of gold until he fucking I don't know who has a heart of gold.
There should be a statistic, man, because I do
here.
think that Matt here has a better statistic. I think
Well,
the
it's a
pile driver
more popular
probably,
move too.
It's a more popular move. It's a more gruesome looking move.
I was kind of
The vertebraker looks pretty fucking sick. I'll show you some
Dude,
gifs
didn't
after
we? Wasn't
after this
there
round.
a vertebraker was pulled by the Joshi ladies at the AEW? That one.
Yeah.
What was her name?
Was it
Yao or
Riho?
Riho?
Riho,
Yeah,
the
Riho
fucking
did a
champ?
Yeah, dude, that
Yeah.
shit was sick looking. I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
saying
a
it
sick
doesn't-
fucking move.
but it's way
if you
safer
fuck
than
it
a
up-
pile driver.
No.
Yeah.
No, it is not.
Dude, you like there is the top of your head. When you do it right, the butt hits first, but your top of your head still impacts.
No.
So you're
No.
almost
You're
every-
like 3 inches off the ground if you do a fucking
if you
pile
want it to
driver
look
right.
like crap.
you do a pile driver safe, it's not going to look like crap.
I guess most of the sell on a pile driver is the like I launch myself out of it.
Yeah.
You know, than rather than the impact of it.
Yeah.
But not everyone's Scott Hall. They can't land. Take that fucking stunner.
Yeah. Also, with like the Joshi wrestlers, they all train their neck and shit.
That's insane because that's real true. They all
Yeah.
fucking do neck trauma as a exercise.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
like get up like in a yoga style and flex their neck with their whole body up, like
Yeah.
just like on their neck. I watched
Hiromu
was it-
Takahashi.
Well, I was watching Will Ospreay pre-match one time. Will Ospreay is an Australian wrestler, New Zealand.
He's English.
Oh, is he English?
Yeah.
But he wrestles for New Japan. But he was just rolling on his neck on the apron. He was like standing and then would just kick his legs up to go up, put pressure on his neck to make his neck muscle stronger. The dude also has like severe neck issues and trauma all the time. But they train like that.
Because he took too many vertebreakers.
No. Is it?
No.
I didn't know Ricochet did it.
Yeah. But, no, I'm still going to say that you fuck up a vertebraker, it's going to wreck you. Just like if you fuck up a fucking pile driver, it's going to wreck you, except you can't see where you're going to land a vertebraker. And that's why it's more dangerous than a pile driver to your opponent.
Is it to the opponent? Because then
But
my argument is,
your argument
Giving or taking.
yeah,
yeah.
My argument is 100% that you're just you're doing a suicide dive. You're giving up. Your fucking face, head, neck is to the heirs of destiny when you leave that corner. There's no way that you're safely getting out of it, no matter what. Like you said, if you fuck it up, you land on your chest. But
No, if you do it right, you land on your chest.
everyone that I've seen is head first, then the rest of your body.
Okay, you do it right, you're landing on a soft part of their body.
Right. You're getting the neck. You're supposed to get head-to-head
You're
contact.
getting chest muscles,
Right.
belly. And then if you fuck it up, you're hitting their head.
Because you're not supposed to put your arms anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
infamously, Chris Benoit would cross arms out, Superman style, arms to the side.
I
Hit his
feel
head.
like if you did like put your arms out though, you would like run a bigger risk of like breaking an arm.
Yeah.
Whereas the way that they do it, the force of the impact goes throughout their entire body, like their knees to their chest. So,
And you're
like,
not supposed to land at like a 90 or
Yeah,
even
you're supposed to
45.
land
You're
flat.
supposed to land
like
like a 15-degree angle.
like a belly flop. Like if you do a belly flop and you fuck it up, it stings. But if you do it perfect, your weight's evenly distributed and you just absorb the impact.
Right, and that's most wrestling moves. If you do it right, the weight's evenly distributed,
Well, with-
or they're not making impact at all. Like,
All right, gentlemen. So we'll start since Belleville started. We'll go into closing arguments.
God, that was 15 minutes.
Yep.
Seems like a long time.
Oh, do I start the?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
well, yeah, but
You
Corey,
get to
Corey
talk
took up your first.
uninterrupted.
Yeah, up to 5 minutes. If you don't need the 5 minutes, that's fine.
Essentially, the thing that is most impactful for me about why this is the most dangerous move is the legacy it had on CTE and Chris Benoit. I'm sure other wrestlers have experienced it as well, but his brain damage impacted his whole family and his legacy. In one short swoop, whenever he committed those atrocities to his family, which everyone, I don't need to go into what happened, but that was directly the impact of him performing such a traumatizing move to his head. He's not the only one. I can't remember the wrestler. I want to say it's Harley Race that quoted regretting ever inventing the flying headbutt because of what happened and the popularity. Because it is a gruesome-looking move with near to little immediate impact. You can ding your bell, but you can still work. But the long term is very damaging for what is essentially an entertainment. Part of the reason too I have a lot of respect for performers that choose to do that move is the lack of fear that you have to perform it. But it is grasping your own fate in your hands, and it's why I feel like it is the most dangerous move. God, I'm good at talking.
Full stop. Wesley, whenever you're ready.
Alright, here's the thing with the pile driver, opposed to the other two, making it the most dangerous with the, I'm sorry, what was it?
Vertebreaker.
Vertebreaker. It's a thing that, sure, more people do it in Japan. In America, it's something that a few people have practiced to make it like their signature finisher. With the flying headbutt, you have people who are already acrobatic and have trained their bodies to, you know, they've practiced this move. There are people who go to the top rope. You're not going to see like a big man or something try this move out. With the pile driver, it's something people just getting into wrestling. They're like, I can do a pile driver. It's more easily accessible to any wrestler. So that in and of itself makes it more dangerous. It just statistically, more people do it, more people are going to fuck it up, more people are going to land wrong. And you also have the aspect of with the flying headbutt, they're learning how to like land and stuff when they do other moves. Like Jim said it best when they like learning how to land for that is throughout all of wrestling. The vertebreaker and the pile driver are very similar, but I would say that the thing that separates them and makes the pile driver more dangerous is its accessibility and the fact that it is solely on the person. With the vertebreaker, you can see it going wrong and break out of it, cover it up. With the pile driver, you don't know it's wrong until you're already in motion.
You done? And the internet's Jimmy Toledo.
Alright, so with the pile driver, like I mentioned a few times previously, you can look down and see where your person's head is, your opponent's head is, and adjust accordingly. With the vertebreaker, you don't get that solace. You have to take it on the nose that you are aware of your opponent's height and you are doing it correctly, or that they are able to lift up if it's not done correctly. There's a reason why the vertebreaker is not a widespread move like the pile driver or even the flying headbutt, and that's because when you go into a promotion and you say, I'm going to hit you with my vertebreaker, you're likely to going to get some salty dog wrestler being like, haha, no thanks kid, I like my neck where it is. I've heard shoot interviews where people have mentioned that as a thing where kids come in saying, I want to do a vertebreaker, and then they're being like, no. And that's a big reason why. There's a lot of trust in that move. The opponent has to trust you to do it, and you have to trust your opponent to take it. And that's number one, because that is a dangerous move to do. Pile driver, like I mentioned, you can judge your distance. The flying headbutt, like I mentioned, you can aim for a soft part of the body to mitigate the harm. There's no way you can, gauge that move because it's behind the back pile driver. It's a blind pile driver, and that is dangerous as fuck. That's it.
All right, so good round. There's a lot to chew on there. I'll go over. What is it?
Could they all perform their moves? And
Yeah, on you.
Yeah, that's fine.
I opt out.
So there's a lot good information. These are all dangerous moves, of course. If when it comes to like the sickest looking one, I would have gone with the vertebreaker, but there's a lot of arguments going on here. Okay, I like obviously you have the the Chris Benoit trump card with the flying headbutt.
Thank
is
you.
great. I wish you would have. I know you kind of touched on it a little bit. I wish you would have talked more about Dynamite Kid.
Yeah.
It like ruined his life.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And with the pile driver, you had a lot going on with I think statistics on your side. I wish you would have had more like examples of people getting injured vertebreaker, but with the pile driver, you did bring up the point of like in WWE, it's pretty much outright banned. Whereas the vertebreaker, and a lot of times isn't banned, but you're right, you have people who just won't take it. Especially like older wrestlers, like you ain't going to see John Cena probably taking. Well, you probably won't see John Cena anymore. Period. But you're not.
Did we ever see John Cena?
Right. But with the vertebreaker, you're definitely going to have, especially people with more creative control and stuff, be like, dude, I'm just not taking that move.
Yeah.
But like I said, with the pile driver, it is outright banned. These are all they're all good arguments and all good examples of dangerous moves. But Belleville, you spent half of the round helping Lashley out though. Because honestly,
I kind of low key yield to the pile driver, like because not only I'm gonna add to it, and I'm gonna go ahead if this omits me, fair enough because I have a lot of respect for that move. But not only did it like damage, it was also like banned periodically throughout the 80s and 90s because of the popularity of it and children hurting themselves. So you had not only did it fuck up professional wrestlers, it's such a basic looking move that children were fucking getting their necks broke too. Right. And so the WWE would intermittently outright ban it periodically. And that's why whenever it would be performed, like the announcers would freak out, that's a banned move! You know, like,
right. So if you had spent a little bit more on on the flying headbutt, I probably would have given it to you.
Thanks.
But I'm going to give it to Matt just because I mean, Belleville helped you out for half of the round.
Yeah.
And also, and like I said, the vertebreaker was a great choice. If you'd had more as far as... And another thing with the flying headbutt is you were right. Whether you do it right or do it wrong, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
But I think with the vertebreaker may have had a better chance of winning if you could name not even name specific instances, but just obviously we know. I mean, we talked about Stone Cold and not only Stone Cold, but Stone Cold did also
I can't think of the opponent he did, but he killed somebody.
But
He's lost to history.
But and like you
wants to
said,
tarnish the Stone Cold.
like you said with the pile driver, because it is such a more common move, the statistics are probably in the favor of the pile driver. So I'm going to give the point to Lashley.
I don't think it's Lashley though. I think the point is to the pile driver.
Right? yeah, the pile driver wins. Yeah.
Don't take this away from me. It's my only point.
That's a very hard thing to fact check because I don't follow a lot of wrestling, so it's hard to follow things and also read things.
Right. I was going to try to look up some
shit.
Right.
Looking into the flying headbutt. I was reading about Dynamite Kid and all that shit. Got distracted through half of
Dynamite Kid kind of mirrored Chris Benoit prior, but he didn't have such a severe he was
fucked up his neck before he
his
fucked
whole
up his head.
physically.
Yeah, but he also
couldn't even walk.
Yeah, he couldn't. He was crippled, but also he had similar what's now categorized as examples of CTE damage, where he would lash out at loved ones and couldn't keep family shit together because he was couldn't keep his own mental health in check because he would be erratic.
Right.
So,
but yeah, he ended up pretty much mentally and physically disabled.
A lot of lists I did find a congress list of 10 most dangerous moves or 8 most whatever. Pile driver usually topped the list at number 1. One that I saw that was interesting, I don't know if anybody thought about it. It's not necessarily a move, but it is something. Head injuries due to steel chairs.
Well, yeah.
That's why when an unprotected chair, AEW is kind of throwing them out willy nilly right now, and I'm really that's the only I really like that promotion right now as a competitor to WWE.
That spike trial with pile driver during the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked that they're readmitting unprotected chair shots because they're gruesome.
I want to mention 2 names in reference to that. The Rock and Mankind.
Mankind
That
was
is
It's like
sick.
some
It's
like
disgusting.
25
It's hard to watch.
unprotected
Like-
headshots during the Royal Rumble
Their I
match.
Quit match, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Rock.
Because he was like handcuffed or something.
Yeah, he handcuffed Mankind, and he just gave him, and like they talked about it too. But yeah, it's like 25. He had a face mask, but how much protection you get?
I mean, even
You know?
if it's not on your head and your face, your neck just taking the brunt force
Yeah.
of all those chair shots. All right, so moving on to question number 2.
Number 2,
Number 2.
number 10.
So wait, we're giving it to Matt. I'll move on.
Yeah, the point went to Lasley.
What's this?
So question number 2
Number 2.
is best manager, and we will start with Lasley on this one. If you want to just give your answer,
I think I picked Paul Heyman.
you did.
Cool.
And Jim,
I chose the only answer, and that's Bobby the Brain Heenan.
and Belleville. What was your answer for this?
My answer is the polarizing figure of Jim Cornette.
All right.
God
Let's
damn.
do it.
God damn.
Well, Jim Cornette was probably the most popular manager of the most popular tag team, the Rock and Roll Express. Their legacy is still impactful today, and his opinion as a manager is still impactful today. Wrestlers fucking shit on themselves every time that man has an opinion because he was so popular, so over as one of the most effective managers. And not only was he just a mouthpiece of that group, he also did actual managing work where he would go into a promotion and if they didn't have the cheddar for him, then the Rock and Roll Express were getting out and all this penny stayed on the people's asses because they were like panty dropping motherfuckers. They were over as fuck.
Did he manage Stan Hansen?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Did he? You would know more than I would.
No, he didn't.
Oh, who did? Who did, Jim?
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he manage Stan Hansen in Japan? Stan Hansen in Japan?
No, he managed Stan Hansen in the AWA.
Okay. Is that your only Stan Hansen? That's more of a credit for Stan Hansen, less of a credit for because Stan Hansen is a motherfucker. But not Bobby the Brain, but Jim Cornette, literally would go into office and my boys get fucking 10 G's or else we're walking, and they would get shit.
I'm just saying he got Stan Hansen over.
I think Stan Hansen got Stan Hansen over.
Stan Hansen can get Stan Hansen over, but before Stan Hansen could get over, Bobby Heenan was getting him over.
Where you at with where you at with Paul Heyman?
He managed 6 world champions in WWE,
Yeah.
and he also managed ECW.
Yeah, no, he created.
He
Yeah,
created
he created
ECW.
and managed.
But that's well, he only managed 911 in ECW, and I think Sabu. But
He managed actually
did he manage?
Stan Hansen?
No.
Because he didn't.
Did he manage Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard in the WWF?
I mean that.
No.
No, but guess what?
Because
Who
that was
counts?
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Who counts fucking Arn Anderson and fucking half of the Four Horsemen in the WWE?
Brainbusters were a force to be fucking reckoned with, motherfucker.
For about 6 months, about a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
and
they
their
were
asses
fucking
were back
back
in the
to the
fucking
NWA.
WCW.
Yeah.
That's because they did nothing
All right,
there.
all right.
Arn Anderson did more work in post WCW WWE backstage than he ever did on in the ring. His career was over. Cornette was such an influence on wrestling in general, and also
You know who
a
else did more shit in
thesaurus.
the WWE backstage than they ever did on camera?
Probably Cornette.
Cornette.
You know what? You know who did more than
You know
Arn
who else
Anderson?
did more shit on backstage in WWE than probably on camera?
Heyman.
Heyman.
Yeah, but Cornette did the manager. He was the last of the real
We're
managers.
talking on camera fucking managers.
And I'm telling
I'm
you,
talking-
on camera, did your
I'm
motherfucker,
talking
your motherfucker
Maine.
had a brain, but did he have a tennis racket? Fuck no. You know who did? Jim Cornette.
You know what? You know what makes you not need a fucking tennis racket?
Stan Hansen.
No, Andre the Giant.
Oh, okay. Andre the Giant was already
The
I would say-
Barbarian.
I would say Andre the Giant. You have
Ken
you
Butera.
You picked
Nick
a manager.
Bockwinkel.
You picked a manager that was
Ray
given.
Stevens.
That was given.
Adrian Adonis. Haku.
Right.
King Kong Bundy.
Let me say this.
You don't need a fucking You don't need a fucking tennis racket when you got King Kong Bundy.
Listen.
He pinned people for 5 count.
Let me say this is what. Okay, you just mentioned all these great historical, beautiful names that got over their manager more than their manager got them over. Like Andre the Giant was already a global phenomenon.
Yeah, but he
and
still needed a mouthpiece.
He
You
needed
know
a
why?
mouthpiece because he was French and he can't talk right. But guess what? Everyone knows that the Rock and Roll Express and Jim Cornette talks for them.
Wait.
And also,
You know who didn't need a mouthpiece but still had Bobby Heenan as a manager?
who?
Woo! Ric Flair!
Jim Cornette could out-talk Ric Flair in his
With a
fucking-
tear in my eye, this is the greatest night of my life. You know who was standing behind him when Ric Flair said that, holding the WWF World Heavyweight Championship?
Bobby the Brain.
Bobby the Brain Heenan. You know who was standing right next to him?
Andre the Giant.
Also managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
Ooh, he was a good manager as well.
It is unright, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, you're
but-
wrong, and this is why you're wrong, because yeah, he was a mouthpiece for people who didn't need mouthpieces. Yeah, Andre the Giant couldn't talk, right? Yeah, so he needed little words. But Jim Cornette, what he actually did was manage the lives of one of the most popular fucking wrestling teams.
Alright.
Not only the Rock and Roll Express, but then also the Midnight Express, who were also...
Well,
and
why
then
don't we go on and say the guy who managed the fucking Legion of Doom?
Who was that?
Fuck, I forget his name.
Kevin Sullivan?
No, it wasn't Kevin Sullivan.
The bald
puppet?
dude. No,
Yeah,
the
the
bald
bald
dude.
guy.
Oh, God, what's his name?
But
But he
he-
was cool too. But
He managed their finances even.
But
and,
yeah, he did.
So by that
but he
argument,
wasn't. But
he's
Jim
even
Cornette.
better than Jim Cornette.
No, he's not because
Yeah,
he didn't
dude.
have the talk. You don't like creepy people, and that's just
He,
that's
he
cool.
talked.
No, but he
He
talked.
talked.
Right.
He talked for him.
Jimmy Corbin.
Dude, do you
Jimmy
think
Cornette,
do
I'm
you,
saying,
do you
like,
think
no,
Hawk and
Jimmy
Animal are going to go out there and cut a promo without
No, they're
standing like, we just ate some sausages and no, that dude did all the work for him.
We're
He's
talking,
better
but
even than
still,
Cornette.
even at
But
that,
you know
Bobby
who
the
was the
Brain-
best
Bobby-
of all fucking time?
not
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Jim Cornette.
His
Bobby the Brain
stable-
Paul Heyman.
His
Bobby
stable
the
of
Brain.
talent.
No.
Oh,
This
he
is why.
managed a couple of fucking redneck tag teams in the 80s.
Oh, you think Bobby
Oh my
didn't?
god.
Bobby-
He tried to resurrect the NWA within the WWF in the 90s. Ooh, what a great dude.
No, I'm not saying
Bobby
he's a
the
great
Brain
dude.
Heenan,
I'm saying
he
he's a
launched the
perfect
career of
manager.
Hulk Hogan behind the scenes. He's the guy that told Vern Gagne to pick up this young up-and-comer named Terry Bollea. And that's what launched the career of Hulk Hogan.
And that's part of the ruining of wrestling. Where Jim Cornette's idea of wrestling
Bullshit
is
ruining
still
of wrestling.
a
Where the fuck
flagship
would you be as a
today.
wrestling fan if it wasn't
Today.
for Hulk fucking
Where would
orange
you be?
hot dog
Where
skin
would you
Hogan?
be as a wrestling fan if
In
it
the
wasn't
the
for
80s.
if it wasn't for the
If Hulk Hogan-
mild manipulation of Jim Cornette in the backstage? He has been influential still to
Okay.
this. He's doing MLW. He's
Right.
doing NWA.
Right.
He's still.
You know who else?
Billy Corgan's ass hired him. Billy Corgan's backwards as shit. But he
Yeah,
hired.
exactly. That's why he hired Jim Cornette's old-fashioned, kind of racist ass.
He's not racist.
He's
He
just
might
an
be.
asshole.
He's a
just generally
transphobe.
an
Yeah,
asshole.
he's
and
transphobic
he's
ass.
sexist.
Yeah.
He's not racist. He put out the gangsters.
No,
The fucking
He
gangsters
still
one of
loves
the
his
last-
rebel flag.
He
You
does
know
not.
this.
No, he
yes, he
fucking
does.
doesn't.
He okay. No, I
His
remember.
podcast- his
I
podcast is already
remember.
Paul
bullshit.
Heyman isn't racist.
That's right.
That's really true.
But
Isn't he Jewish?
the only person that I know that fucking Bobby the Brain Heenan has ever hated that I didn't agree with was Tony Schiavone.
Did he really
but-
hate Tony
Oh, dude,
Schiavone?
he hated Tony Schiavone.
Tony Schiavone is.
We have to sit
Uh,
next to somebody for so many years, you get tired of him.
Pretty much. He was like, he was bitching about how Tony Schiavone wanted his chair higher or some shit. But
He always wanted to be taller than me.
he
It's like a button
he
on
not
fur
only
coat.
got over all these people that he managed.
He
right?
didn't get them over.
But no, he was the primary
They were
vehicle.
already
He was the
over.
primary vehicle to get over the fucking concept of Hulkamania.
Dude,
Brother.
Hulkamania
I
was
say that
already
both
the
as a
fuck
wrestling
over.
thing and you
I
are
think-
my brother.
I think the person that got Hulkamania over was Mean Gene. I don't think Bobby the Brain did
No,
much there.
no, no,
Mean Gene's
no,
interviews put over wrestling
Okay.
way more than Bobby the Brain Heenan did.
Let's
That's
go
true.
over the Hulkster's biggest feud.
I would rather not. I would just rather
No,
go
no.
ahead and talk about Jim
Andre the
Cornette.
Giant.
Also, it's like
So legit, every fucking month It was Hulk Hogan versus somebody
More
that was
impactful-
managed by Bobby Heenan.
More impactful was the
story
Attitude
was
Era.
Hulk
I think
Hogan
right now,
versus the Heenan family.
if we're talking about legacy and its impactfulness,
and that's what made
if we're
wrestling
talking
in
about-
the 80s. And that's what brought wrestling
just because
up
you're a
in the
fan of
cultural
80s wrestling doesn't mean that
consciousness
that's
of America.
what is impactful for wrestling right now. And I think the Attitude Era, which guess who was fucking writing at that point in time? Jim fucking Cornette. That is more impactful for today's
Oh,
wrestling.
dude, go back
You
and
think-
watch
you
some fucking Attitude Era shit.
I'm
Dude,
not-
that shit is cringe as fuck.
You're talking about 80s wrestling, and you're saying that that's cringe as fuck? Yeah, man, brawl and panties matches don't age well, but man, neither does fucking Hulkamania.
No,
like it's fucking.
Hulkamania was pure. All right, it was no. Listen, no. It was Hulkamania, the big bulky good guy,
Yeah.
versus the
Every
weasel
black and
versus
brown
the
person
weasel.
in America.
No, it wasn't just black and brown people.
Oh.
It wasn't just Bad News Brown and
Junkyard
and
Dog.
Junkyard Dog.
It was also
Jim
Jake the
ID
Snake.
was mainly a babyface, by the way.
He was, and Coco Beware as well.
Coco Beware with
you
his
hear-
parrot
never
and
mind,
his
I
bright
wanna
colors. But it was mainly Hulk Hogan versus the fucking Weasel, bro.
Holly Shore.
Sure.
When
No.
did he have a run in the 80s wrestling? He was like 5.
I know, I was mixing
Mixing
stereotypes.
and
I was
Weasel.
I was mixing some Weasel in there. But
Jim Cornette is the best manager of all time because he was able, in a point in time, like to he got them over, and they were undoubtedly.
right.
Can you say
All right.
honestly a more dynamic tag team like the Rockers?
Okay.
maybe, but they had such a short life.
he got
the
over
Midnight
the,
Express.
He got
and
over
the Rock
the
and Roll
Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express. Who else did he get over?
Dude, that was
Who
it.
else
That's
did
all
he
you
get
needed
over?
to get over. They're in
Who else
at
did he
that
get
point
over?
in time. They were making.
I named
they
5,
were-
6, 7 people and Hulk
I don't
fucking
think-
Hogan.
Yeah,
he
you
got
know,
over
like-
Hulk Hogan.
Dude, you could say I did all this stuff for it, but he was really just a person. It was like we might as well just go ahead and say Jimmy Hart too. But what did he fucking do? Not much.
Jimmy Hart didn't do shit.
Right.
He held,
Similar
he held
to Bobby
Hulk
the
Hogan's
Brain.
weight.
He was hired.
Bobby Heenan was the
Jim
perfect
Cornette was an
personality to
actual
get
manager.
Hulk Hogan over.
Bobby the Brain was just a face and a mouthpiece. Like Jim Cornette
He was an actual
actually,
manager too.
Whose finances did he run? Who did he negate for? Also, there was a Jim Cornette had to book himself as like a trio. He got equal
He was the
cut.
best fucking
He got-
wrestling mind
he
in
was that-
history.
Who? Jim Cornette. You're
No,
right.
no,
He is
Bobby
an historian. He's
All right.
also a
right.
legacy influencer. He was a part of a Ring of Honor. Check. Fucking WWE. Check. WCW. Check.
NWA, check.
MLW.
AWA,
Check.
check.
That is all Jim Cornette.
WWF in its hottest period ever. Check.
I mean the Attitude Era.
no.
Because I think the Attitude Era might have a little bit more heat than the 80s era.
The 80s era is what brought it all to fucking prominence.
I think it has a legacy there, but I don't think it's as hot as the Attitude Era personally. Wrestling was so over in the 90s, the money that it was making, and yeah, maybe dudes, maybe they were paving that road, old fucking. But dude, there's not been a more impactful person in wrestling than Jim Cornette, in my opinion, for better or for worse. I am not going to say that I'm like agree with 100% of his ideas on wrestling. I actually disagree with quite a bit of what he believes in wrestling. Like he thinks that women won't have the same
I'm just
billing.
saying-
That's stupid.
I'm just saying,
But
as far
that
as
motherfucker-
pure get-overness,
But we're not
getting
talking
talent
about
over.
pure getting overness.
That's what a
We're
manager
talking-
does.
No,
that's what a manager does.
A manager
their primary job as an on-screen
That's why you would be a shitty
wrestling
manager.
manager.
The only thing dude,
No, the
it's
primary
tough.
job of an on-screen
It's
wrestling
not on
manager,
screen that we're talking about. We're saying the best manager.
the
And
best pro
manager
wrestling manager.
is Jim
Everybody
Cornette.
knows that behind the
Did
scenes.
Bobby
pro
have his
wrestling
own
is bullshit.
Fed? Did he have his own territory? Jim
He
Cornette
didn't
fucking
need
did.
to because he was
You
making
know where
that
it was?
money.
It was Western fucking by God, Virginia is where motherfucking Jim Cornette fucking worked at.
Straight up.
It's
Straight
very
up.
true.
I'm telling you right now,
Mid-Atlantic.
the
That's
primary
Jim
job
Cornette.
of a wrestling manager. You
And where did those
All
wrestlers
right,
feed
wait,
to?
no, listen.
The
You
wrestlers
can
from the
manage all the
Mid-Atlantic.
finances you want. You can manage all the fucking finances you want. But if you don't get
Can't
your
count-
fucking talent over, you're not making money.
I'm going
I
to take
see
a
why
pause
I'm
here, and
sitting in the middle.
I want to take a pause here and let you know that
This is why.
although I appreciate your passion, you're incorrect.
It's about miles traveled and dollars earned,
Hey.
and if you don't get your talent over, you don't get either.
And also, if you raise your voice, it doesn't make your opinion right.
Well, if you keep talking over me, that doesn't make your opinion right either.
I'm not talking over
You
you.
were.
I'm not now.
You
though.
were, though.
But I'm not now.
But you were.
But what I am right now going to say, if you give me a second and not talk over me, which you were doing as well. But I'm not trying to volume match.
Word
That's
a
what I'm not
minute.
trying to
That's
do.
all you're doing.
But what I am
That's all
trying-
you're. That's
There
all
you
you're
are
doing.
again. Talking over me. But, okay, through the impact that he has had, do you not think he has gotten his own wrestling? His whole federation was gotten
Really?
over.
You don't
The
think-
Mid-Atlantic had the Gangsters. They had almost all of
What
ECW.
happened? What happened to Jim Cornette's federation?
He sold it the fuck out so he could go to WWE and make some money in his twilight years.
Why?
Because
Because he wasn't getting talent over and he wasn't
bullshit.
making
They were.
money.
He made it was pretty much like FCW.
He was just giving money to
You're-
old timers.
No,
and he wasn't making any money.
Again, you're talking over me. He was pretty much a feeder system for the WWE at that point in time, which was like kind of a dead period of wrestling, but still his federation was like the farm. It was like the NXT of its time. And also they had TV time in a time where wrestling was struggling. And he was still getting over to. He didn't have fold the federation. He folded it. He was getting them over because they all went through different federations.
They all had to go to different federations
They
to get over.
had to.
All right.
Good argument. Good argument. You're still
So
wrong.
I believe we started with Lasley. If you want to roll into your closing argument.
So,
You want to talk?
I didn't say hardly anything, but I was taking it all in, and hearing both these arguments made me secure in my belief that Paul Heyman is the best manager. He acted as a mouthpiece to 5 of 6 of the dullest fucking world champions in WWE history. They had the fucking talent there, but they had no fucking personality. Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, CM Punk's fine, but who gives a shit? He like is what put them over due to his mic abilities. They had the talent, sure, but he was the one who did the mouth work for them. He also made ECW a competitor to put on WWE's radar, and they bought it. And he is still working with WWE today. He gets to work with I forget if it's SmackDown or Raw, but he's still on there, like behind the scenes of everything on that program, and he has world champion contenders to this day, as well as champions. They're mainly heels. I feel like these two have been listing a lot of faces, some heels, but a lot of faces. And Paul Heyman's the guy who gets the heel over. He makes a likable villain in and of himself, and he makes his managees likable villains too, by proxy. He's great.
First time I've ever heard anybody say Paul Heyman was great. He's a swell guy.
Are we allowed to like negate other people's arguments in our own
Yes.
closing thoughts?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's the best time because they're not allowed to say anything.
Yeah, like I don't get to say it again.
Oh,
It's you.
cool.
Okay. Okay, so Paul Heyman's great and fine, but I'm talking. I have a laundry list of superstars here that Heenan has had in his family of heel wrestlers. He's never been a face manager. He had Ken Patera, a legit scary badass. He had Nick Bonquinkle, the fucking smarmy champion of AWA. Ray Stevens, Stan Hansen, Adrian Adonis, Andre the Giant, the Brainbusters, Arnim Tully, Haku or Ming, legit badass, scary motherfucker, can't talk for himself. King Kong Bundy, not great on the mic, needed him. Mr. Perfect, Eric gave him the legitimacy when he made the jump from AWA himself. Ric Flair brought an NWA superstar and gave him the WWE rub when he needed it. Rick Rude and Offie, The Rock's fucking uncle, dude. He was the manager of royalty in wrestling. And I mean that legitimately, like he was related to the High Chief Maivia of the Samoans. So it wasn't just in the ring, just putting him over. He also was the fucking main commentary in WWF. He gave them the rub every time. He was always telling people it's not cheating if they don't see it. You know, he was there to get them over as the bad guy. And on top of that, he was the primary villain. You could change out wrestlers left and right to face Hulk Hogan, but you know what they needed? They needed a conjoining force to make sure that you knew that there was somebody to hate in WWF, and that was Bobby Heenan. And he did that without having to grab one hold. He took a hell of a bump when he had to. He put on that weasel suit when he had to, except after the fucking Warrior dropped him on his head. But that's what he did. He did what he needed to get wrestlers over and help them make that money at the top of the card. And that's what a good manager does. I don't care if you're a fucking redneck tag team in the fucking NWA, or if you're a fucking homicidal, genocidal, suicidal maniac in fucking Poughkeepsie, New York. He did it all. He did it all better than the two options that you're presenting to me, to a wider swath of wrestlers than what your two people did. And that's by and far why Bobby Heenan was the best manager in all of professional wrestling.
This is the argument that ruined Thanksgiving for the Bell Bills. Bobby the Brain Heenan did manage some of the best wrestlers in wrestling history because he was employed to do so, not because of his own efforts of the of managerial skill. Similar to Paul Heyman is the mouthpiece for some of the best wrestlers that we know today because he is employed to do so. He's employed by a higher system. Jim Cornette, outside of his Attitude Era run with WWE, has then opted to never work for the WWE because he is sought for, because he is such a great mind of wrestling. But he refuses, mostly because he's an antiquated old piece of shit. But Jim Cornette, was one of the last actual managers. He would negate contracts, he would go in, and then that impact that he has had is still standing today, to the fact that he has worked in some capacity with every major still existing federation of some form. I don't want to take away from the legacy because they both made great choices, and I respect them, and I do feel like they're really good managers, but they were not modern managers. They weren't what managers what a term of managers. They're pretty much just a voice, where Jim Cornette did the business end. As you mentioned earlier, the Road Warriors, their previous manager, who then was in NXT for a little while, he did similar things too, where he set up business and stock portfolios and invested for his. He was one of the last actual managers as well. So if we're talking about managers, in my mind, is someone that actually manages their talent and books them, prepares their schedules, travels with, and then handles their finance. The impact that Jim Cornette has had in long-standing wrestling, I feel, is more than just a hired talent where I think both at this point, Paul Heyman and Bobby the Brain were retired bloods. But yet again, I'm not going to say that you didn't make great choices. They're just more of a hired voice to say the script than a guy that actually went in and managed his performance. That's why I think Jim Cornette's the best manager of all time.
All right, so I'm glad you brought up the tennis racket. I was just thinking, I was like, I wonder if he's going to bring up the tennis
you got
racket.
it.
Yeah.
God damn.
Okay, so with Paulie Dangerously, you didn't even mention Mean Mark Callis, man.
Or Stunning Steve Austin.
Yeah. No, there's not really. You didn't really need to mention much of his WCW run, but see, there's a lot of things here. Like some of you guys mentioned, like commentary. All three of them worked on commentary and did fantastic color commentary. Well, I mean, Jim Cornette even wasn't like he was even more play-by-play a lot of times too, but that doesn't really factor into their managerial skills and what have you. I do appreciate that you talked about Jim, I keep wanting to say Jim Crockett. Jim Cornette. He was working. His prime was like during the territories. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you have like your independent workers and like doing real manager stuff. When I gave this question, I didn't necessarily need that, but that obviously is one of the strong points of Jim Cornette. With Paul Heyman, and also like I wasn't really as concerned with like their jobs as a booker and managing feds and stuff, but I'm glad you guys brought that up because obviously when it comes to actual managing as a term, that is something to take into account, I guess. With Paul Heyman, you're right about Brock Lesnar, 100%. Brock Lesnar would have never been over if it wasn't for Paul Heyman. But Kurt Angle he won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck, man.
He had the 3 odds.
Yeah, like I mean,
he was already
and CM Punk and like a lot of those others, they could speak for themselves. But
CM Punk was the 6th.
Right.
I said 5 of 6.
And obviously he was as a manager and as an on-screen personality in ECW, aside from being a booker, he was great. Until he stopped paying his workers and had to sell out.
Boom.
And,
Poor management.
But so if it like coming down to like portfolio managing and actually in real life pulling for your wrestlers and stuff, yeah, Jim. I almost called him Jim Crockett again, Jim Cornette. But when I think about a manager and I think about who set the stage for Paul Heyman making Brock Lesnar the next big thing, it's Bobby the Brain Heenan. Like you said, like if Jim Cornette had more people, because he definitely is still a voice in wrestling, and people want to know what he thinks and what have you. But that doesn't necessarily factor into his managing. Bobby the Brain Heenan. There are a number of wrestlers that while they were entertaining to watch in the ring, they would have never been able to get over on a mic. And I think that's what that's what a lot of wrestling is missing these days.
I forgot to mention Barbarian.
No, you mentioned Barbarian.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of surprised nobody mentioned Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart, by the way. But
all he did was hold Hulk Hogan's lead.
I feel like
and half of Bobby the Brain Heenan's clients as well.
We got Jimmy
Yeah.
Hart and Paul Bearer in the comments.
Yeah, Paul Bearer is definitely classic. As a character, Paul Bearer may have it.
Percy Kringle, in his own right, was a good manager too. Mm-hmm. He managed Kamala and shit in the territories.
Rick
he was
Rude
also
a great manager.
He was
And
also
so is-
one of those territory manage your business wrestlers as
Yeah.
well.
But yeah, I'm going to give the point to Jim because Bobby the Brain Heenan. We need more Bobby the Brain Heenans today in wrestling.
I'm actually
like if you could get Roman Reigns a Bobby the Brain Heenan,
Oh my god.
he could finally get over. Like,
he does have a manager. It's called Cancer.
right?
Oh. Take
got a
Corey
mouthpiece
Graves
for
off
it.
commentary.
The same-
Put him in the ring with Roman Reigns.
I actually
give him a
like.
heater.
I just had, I'm supposed to argue it.
Yeah.
And I think I should earn the point just for working Luke so hard, working Jim so hard, that he lost his shit, and I think I.
No,
won.
I just had to yell to be heard because you kept talking.
Bullshit! You're the one that was over talking me the whole fucking time. We can watch the.
You didn't stop talking. You were not even stopping to breathe.
We're supposed to argue.
I'm getting an anxiety attack. I understand what this is, and if if Wes ever fucking came on this channel, this is what it'd be like. It'd be you in the middle, but we would be punching each other. Like, I thought it almost came down to that.
We don't do that anymore.
No, we just
We don't usually do
we just
that
yell
anymore.
we just
but-
yell and fight. It's
Yeah,
fine.
we do this.
But
all
yeah,
the time.
it's like my
It's a
face-
shtick mostly.
I was-
Yeah.
Until he starts getting red faced like he did. That was
Well, I was starting
breaking
to get red
character. He's
faced.
breaking
I
kayfabe
was just
there.
feeling it. I was like,
He shot on me.
I was feeling it. Like, I know the.
But
All
honestly,
their back and forth.
like I do love
just
Jim
blacked out
Cornette.
for, like,
But man,
a
my
while.
next choice would have definitely been Bobby the Brain.
I
And
know-
honestly,
I know-
my third choice probably would have been
Yeah.
Paulie Dangerously.
Yeah.
But Paulie sucks as management, honestly, because of his complete failure of ECW. Where
But you know,
like
it's interesting though because like a lot of those guys are like, yeah, that sucked, but I love Paulie.
yeah, well, not everyone, because you look at
Not-
fucking Shane Douglas,
Well, yeah.
who
Shane
pretty-
Douglas doesn't like a lot. of
Shane
people.
Douglas, well, also, but Shane Douglas and was it Chris Candido?
Candido, yeah.
Who Chris Candido pretty much bankrolled the last 2 years of fucking ECW.
and Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then they never
And,
saw a
and
dime
Raven
back.
at times.
They never saw a dime back.
Right.
Tommy Dreamer still has a good relationship with him, but that's like it.
Yeah, but that's like Raven will sit there and talk shit and then be like, but I love Paulie. You
Yeah.
know? All right.
He also did a lot of drugs,
So,
Yeah.
He's conflicted.
So we're at 1 point for Jim here and 1 point for Lasley.
I'm coming up.
Mhm.
I think I should get a half point for being number 2.
I can put that in there.
You get half a point for a pile driver. For arguing pile
If you give
Headbutt.
somebody
No, not
a
really.
pile driver, I'm willing. It's fine.
No,
Alright.
I don't want to end your career.
I
So,
don't really want. It's fine.
question numero tres.
Hold on, I forgot what question 4 was. I'm checking that real quick.
Well, this is question 3.
Okay, yeah, no.
Yeah, question 3. The category or question, since I said it was question 3, was best example of WWE wasting a good wrestler. That's about as concise as I could get because it was a lot longer than that. And again, if you just want to start by giving me just your answer, we'll start with Jim this time.
The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
All right, and Belleville
Shinsuke Nakamura.
and Lasley.
Diamond Dallas Page.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Chris, I like
Let's
the
do it.
font that you have too.
Well, Shinsuke Nakamura was coming out of probably like being the most over Japanese wrestler, and Japanese as a culture in wrestling is like it supersedes our understanding of what wrestling is. Almost the whole country fucking loves wrestling there. They have appreciation of judo, and so it was like at a time too where WWE was like, we're going to poach from the Indies, we're going to poach from Japan. And then they took Shinsuke and gave him a good run in NXT, a short but good run, because they were going to try to streamline him to a superstar. But then they just dropped the fucking ball. They put him in mid-cards, they had him lose, they gave him cringy fucking, typical sneaky Japanesey fucking antiquated racist ass fucking storylines. It was garbage the whole way through. They like, he now has an Intercontinental Championship, but he got it from being like this weird cheating, I'm hitting you in the balls, and then like that's like his gimmick.
Are you not familiar with his run in Chaos?
I'm pretty familiar. I know that like
He was a sneaky fucking heel.
but not always. He was he started as the over super clean baby face.
Yeah, he started as a super clean, I do MMA baby face, getting
Right.
the shit kicked
That's
out of me by
another
Brock
thing. He's a
Lesnar.
legit badass.
And then in New Japan,
He's a
but
legit badass that like then got fucking watered the fuck down. I know
But-
he's happy here, and I'm glad he's got the place. He really loves America.
I'm 100% of the opinion that Shinsuke went to WWE for the vacation,
Of course, I'm sure that he.
for the easy work.
I'm sure that he did for like the lighter style. He doesn't have to actually be
Yeah.
as physical.
Yeah,
he
you
could
work
be more
more
show.
dates, but
the
yeah.
thing is, though, you had a talent that was already pre-made. You already had a fan base that was huge. He was the face of the fucking company.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Finn Balor came over and they dropped the ball on both of them. Neither, and you haven't seen a match between them.
And the
that
thing
would be
is,
such a great match.
with-
But you don't get like you don't get the full Shinsuke. You get this fucking garbage.
I'm in neg mode. I'm going to start on Diamond Dallas Page here.
Go for it.
He was at the same time an old hand by the time he got to WWE. He was beat the fuck up and he was still pretty green. He'd only been in pro wrestling since what, 1990?
No, dude,
No,
he didn't.
was-
He was a manager.
He was a manager.
He didn't
He
start
managed
actually
in pro
wrestling.
He didn't wrestle.
He didn't
until
actually
he was like
start
40.
wrestling until like he was 35.
35.
And
And then he got a rocket strapped to his back because there was a lack of heroes at the time.
and also the Diamond Cutter was over his fucking WCW. I'm
That's
not gonna
'cause-
lie. But the thing is with Cody Rhodes, here you had a strapping,
mid-card.
you had a strapping young lad relegated to the mid card. He had the pedigree, he had the look,
But-
he had a fucking great mustache. He was willing to do any gimmick, and he got any gimmick over. He got over a face mask. He got over Stardust.
Yeah, but still,
He
his
got over
moveset is
dashing. He got over a
cripplingly
shitty
boring.
mustache.
His moveset
His
is
wrestling
boring.
style, it was 100% what
Boring.
WWE looks for in their main event wrestling.
and it's boring.
And what did they do with that though? But what did WWE
we all can agree
do
that
with
the
that?
WWE
But
always
no,
takes
no, no.
shits on everybody.
But
That's why I gave the score.
right,
And-
but I
But what
feel
did
like
WWE do with this? They had a fucking stock perfect wrestler, willing to work their style, able to work their style to a T, would come up in their system even, and they shit him down the fucking mid card, and then below even, into just doing house shows and like, all right, we're gonna just tag you with your brother. He's on his way out. We're not gonna work you much because he's a Rhodes. And what did he do with that? And the reason why I chose him is because we see examples now. He's getting over on his own. He built his own promotion to get the fuck
with
over.
a billionaire's money, he built his own he picked himself up from
No,
the straight back grassroots. AEW just needed a billionaire to fund it.
All Out
You know,
didn't
like, come
have
on
that
now.
billionaire's money. That was the fucking
Shinsuke
proving
Nakamura-
ground that got
Shinsuke
him the
Nakamura-
funding to do it.
Shinsuke Nakamura still has, like, that's why he is still like on TV, and he is, I think, currently the Intercontinental Champion, is because there are so many people that want something better, and so the WWE consistently takes a shit on it,
And you know
because
what?
they're on their, and if he switched anywhere, he single-handedly would increase. It's like what
Here's the
Sami
thing
Zayn
with Shinsuke.
is wasted too. All these guys I expect to move, except for Diamond Dallas Page has already moved. He's already AEW as fuck.
Yeah.
He's on their show all the time because
That's
he's.
gonna be part of mine.
Oh, sorry, I'm not gonna
Go for it.
I'm sorry.
So he was in WCW. He had a big following. You could say it was over by the time that ended, but I feel like it wasn't at all. He is one of the few that immediately just cut ties with WCW and went straight to WWE. Signed right then and there, and they just squandered the talent that was DDP. I get that, it's a new promotion. You gotta put yourself over a little bit. You can't just be like, I was world champion here, so make me world champion here. But his mic work is great. He's skilled in the ring. He got an injury, and that's why he was out for a little bit. And he came back, and he was a fucking motivational speaker. It's like,
He still
That's
is.
what he is.
And he
that,
was like,
that was him doing
I
his
mean-
real life as the gimmick, and that's probably a good use of him.
yeah, because they transitioned it well to his
But-
now current career, and I think he's like.
But here's the
I
thing.
gotta avoid doing what I'm about to do, which is like support your all's arguments.
But here's
to
the
beat
thing
me.
with DDP. I don't think he was particularly just misused in the WWE. I think that started actually in the later days of WCW, because the argument is people that were misused in WWE. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They were
Because
wasted in WWE.
this guy lost a belt to a Hollywood actor
Ooh, yeah.
in WCW.
Oh, yeah.
He's got that
He
black
did.
mark coming on him.
Both of
from-
them do. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I feel bad for what's his name from Ready to Rumble. He's
David Arquette.
David Arquette
He
is
loves
a
the business.
legit wrestling fan, and now trying to rebuild his own name in the wrestling sphere by doing.
He did a
indies and
light
stuff.
tube match.
And he almost died in a light tube match to
Yeah.
the fact he had to hold his own fucking jugular vein that got cut.
Yeah.
And he had to hold it. It was
Very
versus
bullshit.
yeah, versus Joey Janela.
No, it was Nick Gage.
Oh yeah, Nick Gage, other death match dude. But anyways, back to Shinsuke Nakamura, because that's what I gotta get.
I don't even know who that is.
Shinsuke Nakamura is this Japanese. He's called the Artist, and all that is
Strong style.
Yeah, he's the king of strong style. Strong style is like, I'm really going to kick you. I'm really going to hit you. But it's, I'm going to give you, instead of all of it, but we're really connected.
Kinshasa!
The Kinshasa.
The
And
Bombay.
and he is such a talented, but you don't see that talent because he is constricted to the WWE style. He's not allowed to give good kicks.
I
He's
think
not,
in
and he just,
recent months they've been using him a lot better.
well, that's because you
lately.
got the competition.
They gave him a mouthpiece in Sami Zayn, and I think that's something he strongly needed from day one. He can speak English, but his accent is so thick it's hard to understand.
Right. He needed Sammy.
He
Well,
needs a mouthpiece. It didn't need
But
to
they're
be
taking a
Sammy,
shit on
but-
Sammy. That's a misuse of Sammy.
But that
too.
is a misuse of Sammy, but he's not
They
in
should
this
tag
argument.
him. Make him a tag
Shinsuke
team.
is.
Like, make him...
Of course they're going to tag them.
No, they're
Eventually
not.
they are.
Like, Sammy is going to bide his time and get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
possibly, but in the meantime, though, he's doing a good job
Cody
of
Rhodes,
getting...
I'm gonna just go ahead and say this. Cody Rhodes is a dynamic now, a dynamic performer, but he was a green whenever he was in the WWE.
No,
that
he
was
wasn't.
10 fucking years ago, man.
No, it wasn't.
It was fucking 2006.
It was okay.
And he
The
didn't talk
2006
like he
was
talks
when
now.
he started,
He didn't talk
but
then.
he
Even-
didn't leave
even that-
for another 10 years. At which point he was a seasoned pro.
Dude, but not seasoned enough. And he learned more, I feel, on his indie run. When he made his list, yeah, ballsy. But I feel like he learned more on his indie run than he ever did in WWE.
And he had-
and that's fair.
and he was
right now,
able
I'm not
to take
arguing.
his ball and
Hold on, let me
run.
finish the thought.
Go ahead.
At this point in time, Cody Rhodes has learned so much from being on indies and being able to have that freedom. And yeah, right now, he's a dynamic performer. But he was nowhere near. It's like the reverse. Shinsuke Nakamura was already a dynamic performer and then got taken a shit on.
I
Instead,
argue
he grew
that he
and
was a
grown.
dynamic performer whenever he was in the WWE. Like I mentioned the list of gimmicks he got over. He got over. I remember there was a period of time where what's his name, the intellectual savior dude.
I remember they were the scholars
yeah.
or some shit like that.
Yeah. He was one of the people that got him over, even though he was kind of a shitty, not very good performer overall.
I'm not taking away, but
he
his,
got over-
his move list wasn't as good as Shinsuke's. His in-ring performance isn't as good as Shinsuke's to this day. I mean, he's a good performer, but he's not on the level of Shinsuke.
I don't think Shinsuke's capable of doing half the shit he was doing at New Japan today.
I'm sure you're right. His body impact has probably changed.
Exactly.
But we're
He's-
talking about two people's, like, you're talking about someone that's came up and then left because he was
He came
getting
because
a
he
shit
wasn't
taken
getting.
on.
He was
We're
there,
talking about
but he
someone
wasn't
who's
getting the
already-
opportunities. And
Are you talking over me?
no,
I feel like you are.
but
But you're saying you're talking
I'm
talking about
arguing with you.
No, you're arguing against me.
that's the point. so
You're allowed to do that.
But anywho, you're saying Cody. Like you mentioned Cody Rhodes, who I don't think was nearly as good, and still on a legacy impact. Though you'll look back and yeah,
I'm
he's got
just
an
saying-
more impact on overall wrestling because he was brave enough to branch out and do a competitor. Good on him for knowing when to strike that fucking metal. And I'm not taking away from Cody Rhodes, but if we're talking about WWE taking a shit in general, they just were waiting for this. Like Cody Rhodes, if he would have stuck, would be like probably at Miz level, you know, not like he would be over and be utilized.
And I argue that he probably deserves to be better than Miz level. He should have had some runs at the top by the time he left. He should have had.
I don't think he had it then.
He had.
You have so many
He
other
had
stars
gimmicks
that-
with heat. He was bringing stars to the table in WWE. He brought the dude who played Arrow to the fucking table. And what did they do for that? For giving them that star power? They dropped him off the card. They relegated him to house shows whenever he had a fucking blood feud angle with his brother.
I've got a
He-
blood feud angle right now with my brother. So I'm piping out this steaming hot bullshit.
And I mean,
Steaming
there
hot
are
bullshit.
keep fucking memeing me, dude. But for real though, like Cody Rhodes was somebody that
I feel
could
like
have been.
I need to argue for Matt here.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Matt.
I feel like we're just like fighting and you're just like,
Yeah, I'm
don't
taking
punch
it all
me in the
in.
middle.
He's saving his heat for the fucking final argument.
Like with DDP, he was a huge star with WCW. He went over to WWE, and they squandered his talent. Like, sure, he was older than started at 35. I don't think
Yeah,
that's
he
a
was-
fucking knock against
He was no
him.
Chuck Palumbo.
I mean, fucking Ric Flair is like 60 when he was still doing shit and had a crowd going, and DDP could have done the same. Sure, he's not like gonna get on the top rope and jump off and shit like that, but he was entertaining enough to watch with WCW, and he would have been with WWE. And since he's left, he's becoming more of what he was with WCW, and WWE just fucking squandered all of that. Granted, he did have that injury, but he came back to it, and they could have used him as like the manager that he started out as. It's like, okay, you're not good enough to wrestle right now, like well enough to wrestle right now. Do some promotions for us, and then when you're fit, get back in
Fit Finley?
there. But they
Amazing European wrestler.
Yeah.
they would have had. They could have used him as a promoter. They could have used him as commentary. They could have used him as a wrestler. They could have used him as a manager, and they just fucking didn't use
They could
any
just
of his talent.
use Shinsuke in general,
And they do.
it would get over. Like he
And
is
he
built.
does.
They even garbaged up his fucking intro. Like they garbaged
Oh
it
yeah, with
down.
that broken Japanese
The
rap they
broken
put in, yeah.
Japanese rap shit they threw over top of his, like, people were like chanting his intro because it was such a
Right.
they're over, and then they made it impossible to chant the tune anymore.
Right.
Because they after the music would go off, the crowd loved Shinsuke so
Really?
much at that point in time.
Did they slap a shitty gimmick on him and then refuse to take it
Yes,
off of
they
him?
fucking are still. He's like dodgy Japanese. It's a shit gimmick.
It's not dodgy Japanese. He's
It
just
is
dodgy.
so racist Japanese.
Like I
and
mentioned before, he was dodgy Japanese
It's
in the
different.
Japanese promotion.
That's different and not racist at that point in time because you're in the culture to which you're just dodgy.
well, I
But
think he
it
likes
is a
playing
trope.
dodgy characters. You ever
that's
consider that?
That's still a trope in fucking American
They
wrestling.
don't bring it up like, oh, he's dodgy because he's Japanese. No, they bring it up
There's
because
a
he's
histor-
dody because he's an old hand at this.
They,
and he
they
knows all the
can't.
tricks.
You can't admit your racism when you're live on TV.
But they
It
don't
fucking-
play it as dodgy Japanese.
They
It's-
do.
He doesn't
2019,
bust out the
so
fucking
damn.
green mist.
You can't, dude. But Asuka does.
Asuka does, but
Asuka does, and she's Japanese, and they made her fucking dodgy
But
too.
that's a different
Because-
argument.
Because American wrestling still has this World War II Pearl Harbor fucking idea about itself, where if you're a foreigner,
But they don't play it off
anytime-
like that with
They
Shinsuke.
do,
They
but it's a
don't,
low key.
though.
They do.
They
but it's-
don't, though.
They do,
But they
because
don't.
They fucking do. Us arguing they do, but they don't. They do, but they don't. Is fucking dumb.
At least that didn't last for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was about to say
Uh-huh.
have an example, but it got cut off.
All right, so
I
I
fucked
think
up the camera too, but I think I fixed it. I think it's actually
Yeah, I checked.
Yeah, we're
it.
good.
It
We're
seems
good.
we're good now. It wasn't that
all right.
bad.
So closing arguments. We're going to come back to the internet's gym here.
You always go down.
Well, again, because I'm first. Can we restart this? Okay.
It's because you like them better. You always have, Dad.
Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus. So, my thing is with Cody, he's the stock you look for a superstar. And instead of building him up, they slapped him with a shitty gimmick towards the end of his run, and then dropped him off the card entirely. When he could have had a good run against his brother. And what do you have to do that? He had to start his own fucking fed. And he did it. And it got over huge. And he got over huge. And it's not just because he did some time in the Indies or he got seasoned in ROH. He came preseason. He did 10 years in the WWE system. And Shinsuke is not dodgy because he's Japanese. He's dodgy because he's fucking dodgy. He was a heel in Japan too. DDP, he was old and beat up by the time he got to WWE. Yeah, he probably would have been a good manager and they didn't do it. But, you know, by that time, they made their mind up on him and they were going to shit on him anyways because he's got that WCW stink. And it wasn't because he's DDP. It's because he was from the South. So, all in all, I think the best argument here is that Cody Rhodes, he was young, he was in his prime, and they didn't use him as such. He could have been a main event contender while he was in WWE, but they didn't, and that's on the WWE.
All right, Matt B.
That's me.
That's you.
DDP was misused. Cody Rhodes was misused. But Shinsuke Nakamura is currently being misused. DDP was on the twilight of his career, but from the get, they gave him just a crap name. And then Cody Rhodes, they underutilized a professional wrestler at the beginning of their profession. If at this point in time, if he would have sustained and towed the company line, which I'm happy he didn't, but there's no doubt in my mind that he wouldn't be surpassed his brother and would be at this point in time feuding with someone of the likes of Daniel Bryan or a pretty upper card. He would probably upper card at this point in time just because he's a dynamic performer. Shinsuke Nakamura, on the other hand, is a victim of racism, and I feel like you have not been effective in changing my mind on that. That he was the face of a company, and it's the number 2 company in the world. And you take a star of that magnitude and then bring them in just to have them toe a fucking mid card and to play a lackluster character. Yeah, you can say there's some work to be done because of his language or his accent, and he does need a mouthpiece. I'm not saying he doesn't need a good, but his in-ring charismatic style is being watered down. The backbend, the artist, that shit is all meant to be a face at this point in time, but he's not allowed to be a face, and he's not allowed to be this dynamic performer. Yeah, they're giving him a title, but the title doesn't really have that much bearing. It's kind of a watermark. It's like a page hold until they can go forward. Cody Rhodes, I'm glad he's done what he's done and moved on because I'm a fan of wrestling and he's developed more, and I feel though he would have, if he would have, he didn't have even the mic skills that he has now. Maybe that's because of WWE holding him back, but it's definitely a misusage. All of these guys are misused, and there's many more that I could have named. But the fact that you've dialed out a draw as big as Shinsuke, a global draw as big as Shinsuke Nakamura, is to me just the biggest mismanagement, misusage of a talent.
All right, lastly.
Can I ask for clarification on a term that was used?
Sure.
Jim, you said created his own Fed?
Federation.
Yeah, his own company.
Okay.
AEW is it was pretty much created by the brains of Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, and the money of Tony Khan.
So yeah, it's easy to put yourself over when you create your own Fed. You have full creative control. I want to be the best. I'm gonna be the best. It's like I could rig these fucking debates to give myself the fucking upper hand.
You should.
But I don't.
Yeah, I mean, don't you?
Hollywood Hogan.
But and you said that your guy had the talent, and sure, there's that language barrier. You know who'd be a great manager for him that they could have used? Fucking DDP. There's so much you could have done with DDP, but they just didn't. And he has since left. He took a bit of a hiatus, and he's back, and he's putting himself over now in another organization.
AEW.
So there's still. You say he's washed up and done and stuff, but if that were the case, he wouldn't be going over in another federation. WWE just misused him the most. He could have fucking done commentary or anything, fucking literally anything. He was great on the mic. He was great in the ring. You say that he still uses this motivational personality to this day, and he's going over with that. That's WWE was like, no, we're not. We're going to give you this, but we're not going to let you use it hardly ever, and made him just relegated to the, whatever the house
House show circuit, yeah.
and there's proof in his current career that he isn't washed up. And you gave me a lot of reasons why they misused him, like he's from WCW and blah blah blah. That doesn't, just because there's a reason for it, doesn't mean he's the most misused. DDP.
All right. So these are all really good picks because at some point or another, they've all been the face of a company. They've all been the guy. You guys kind of talked about how like WCW dropped the ball, DDP toward the end. WCW dropped the ball with everyone. That doesn't.
That's
count.
why. That's why it failed.
Right. So the David Arquette thing, obviously, like that doesn't really hit. That doesn't knock DDP down at all.
Bro,
One thing I wish that I mean, you kind of talked about how he can still get himself over, but I wish you would have mentioned. I mean, I know you're not quite as knowledgeable about wrestling as these other guys, but like, yeah, he was older when he came to WWE. But he had a fairly low impact. He wasn't doing backflips off the fucking top.
I said
top rope.
stuff like that, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Because he had a fairly like traditional low impact style for the most part that he could have done fine. I wish you would have kind of hit more on like you kind of like it was kind of talked about that like they just gave him this and he had to deal with it. But like DDP was the everyman over his shit. Bang!
Yeah.
Like you even did it. You know, self high five and all that shit, and then comes to WWE
And
is a fucking stalker heel for the Undertaker to squash.
Yep.
And it was almost like what they did with fucking Goldberg. You know, it's like that's not what he's supposed to do. You don't know what you're doing. I wish you would have talked a little bit more about the specifics of that. With Cody Rhodes, like I said, all these are really good picks. And I like that you mentioned, you know, anybody could get over if you make your own Fed because, and like I was actually thinking Cody's actually working with lesser known people and trying to get them over, but at the same time, like watching some AEW, I'm like, is he going to be Jeff Jarrett? Like, you know what I mean? But
is he going to be like his dad?
No.
Yeah. He's already his dad.
Well, and here's the thing,
booking
like
himself to
obviously
win.
with Cody Rhodes, WWE like kind of shat on their whole family to some extent at one time or another. I mean, don't get me wrong, Goldust definitely had his time in the spotlight. Cody never did, but like you pointed out, he was, you know, it's kind of where he got his start, and he already had that name, and that's something that really works for your benefit is that like, you know, because these are coming
He was
from different
there for
angles.
a decade.
Yeah, but I mean like. You know, he's a second generation superstar. They usually do. He could have been Randy Orton. He could have been, you know.
He would be a better Randy Orton.
Right. Because Randy Orton is fine with not being that
big.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, you know, so Cody Rhodes, you know, and he, like you said, he like, you know, Belleville said it was, you know, he was boring, and I certainly understand. But he has that traditional WWE. Traditional wrestling, that's what he does, and it makes it honestly like it makes less sense for them to have not done more with him, and maybe it was just because they fucking hated Dusty. Who knows?
I dispute that they hate Dusty. I think at a point in time, yeah, they were.
Because that's why I think that's why they stuck Goldust with the Goldust gimmick.
And 100%,
he happened to get it over.
It's a lineage thing. Yeah, I
and they
agree,
did
but they
that
don't
repeatedly.
hate him
Yeah,
because
with
they
Stardust,
gave him.
he didn't have it. He
They
wasn't as
gave
good at
him
it as Dustin
NXT.
was.
NXT was fucking Dusty and Triple H.
Right.
And that like Dusty
Dashing
talks
Cody Rhodes. That's all I gotta say.
But I'm not gonna like. I agree that I think it's like a lineage thing. Like there is like we got to put every one of these Rhodes kids through the shit. But every one of those Rhodes kids broke through their garbage gimmick and made it fucking over. And Cody would have done it too. Cody would
He did do it.
But I mean, to the level where he's at now, he would have done it in WWE as well.
But I think that like you're right. He definitely. You know, paid his dues to be used more than he was, and that's part of the frustration why he left, you know, and everything else, and that he was just getting stuck with shitty gimmicks that he could get over, but it was just not the way he wanted to work. Because, like I said, you know, you had these other, like, young wrestlers that just use their names, and they go out there in their tights and they do their thing, and they're like, no, we got to put fucking face paint on him because he's Goldust's brother. But like I said, it's coming from
Stardust
different
was
angles.
absolute garbage of a gimmick. It was
but-
fucking horrible.
But
He still got it over.
it's coming from
True.
different angles though, because like with Cody, that's where he started, and at some point he deserved more. With Shinsuke and DDP, these were world champions that got brought in and fucking shit on.
Yeah.
Both of those are valid angles to come from. The thing is, like, you guys speculated with Cody. Like, if Cody were in WWE now, you know, he would probably be like The Miz. He might even get the strap at some point. Nobody bothered to speculate on, and even, you know, talked about DDP and what he's doing now. While they are using Shinsuke more, nobody bothered to speculate when he's going to become top level and get the world
It's because they're never
championship.
going to do it.
They'd never give it to a Japanese dude, not for a long time.
I was surprised when they gave it to Jinder Mahal.
Right. And if he wasn't like 7 foot tall, they probably wouldn't.
What-
have
Shit,
known.
I was surprised when they gave it to Kofi Kingston.
Right.
Dude, for sure.
Yeah.
But
And then had
I was
Brock squash him.
pumped.
But he had it for a while, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good run with it. And he'll get
so-
it. Actually, I think Kofi will get it again. He's a fucking loved.
He's a
Loved.
tried and true babyface.
Yeah.
And I also agree with what you said about, like, you know, Shinsuke being happy with where he's at, and it is an easier life for him and stuff than what he.
He's also like the
But
inverted version
Getting
of
headbutted
like.
by Shibata.
Right.
But he's like the inverted version of like a Japanese file, like, or what's the shit nickname? Weebu or whatever.
Yeah,
He's like an American. He's like a Japanese dude that's in
Right.
love with hamburgers and fucking
American
French
culture,
fries and
yeah.
shit. He loves American
Um,
culture. He likes surfing.
Yeah.
What's more Beach Boys and apple pie than surfing, man?
It's
Australian. It's
I mean, Japan
But,
has a lot of coast too, though. They
Sure.
surf there.
yeah, you just wait for the tsunamis to roll in.
you get them sick waves.
Yeah.
This is the last wave.
But this is tough because I think everyone was right and no one was wrong. But I'm going to give it to Matt B with Shinsuke. Just because, and
I
not even-
was wrong.
Finally,
That too.
the Bell villain.
I'm
It was
gonna
really
go ahead.
close. It
I'm
was
gonna.
really close.
Where's
Can I
Jack
decide-
Tunney? I'm gonna contest the officiating on this
Can I do
contest.
a sidebar comment still revolving around wrestling? Wouldn't it be awesome if The Rock ran for president so he could be like, finally, the president has came back to Huntington.
Can you smell
What the president is cooking. It's called war.
Full disclosure.
Or 111. We
Yep.
did have some social media.
Full disclosure. I had no idea what to pick for this, and I didn't send my pick in time, and Kyle picked DVP for me.
DDP was actually a good one because, like, and there's things that you didn't even go into
Oh, I
that,
didn't know.
like,
We were
Okay,
feeding you tidbits.
so they gave him, like, okay, for one, there was a failed invasion angle of WCW that DDP was after the wave of. He should have been the leader of
Yeah.
that invasion angle.
But the leader was Stone Cold.
yeah, the leader was a WWE dude,
Right.
and that was
Stone Cold
okay.
Steve Austin.
They misused Booker T, King
Oh,
Booker later.
Buried by fucking Triple H.
Yeah, but later they gave him his comeuppance
Yeah.
and he got a title run. Great.
5 times.
Yeah, but initially that whole slew of WCW people were
They shut
misused,
everybody.
except for
Well, and that's the
Chris
thing.
Jericho because he came in before.
Yeah.
He
And the Radicals, well,
And the
half the
Radicals.
Radicals.
came in before, and so
Eddie
Chris
and
Benoit
Eddie
was
Chris.
well.
They
Chris-
never used
Chris
Saturn
and Eddie.
right. They
no.
never used. Who was
No
even
one
the
used
other person?
Saturn right.
No. ECW maybe.
Yeah.
Well, and he was finding the flock too.
yeah, Perry Saturn. God rest him.
Yeah,
Like,
he's that poor
they
guy.
stuck him with a mop and was like, "This is your gimmick now."
Well, he shot on somebody, and that's what he got for it, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Um,
He hurt someone in real and then they were like, "You got to do this now."
yeah,
But he got that over.
he did.
Yeah, he got Moppy over.
It was like Al Snow and Head. I don't know why it worked, but it
I think
fucking
Al
did.
Snow and Head, that was his creation.
That's the ECW magic.
Man, have you ever watched the training videos that he does? Al Snow?
I've seen
He
some.
trains for
fucking-
OVW now. He's part owner.
He's fucking. Yeah, we should go to OVWs.
Let's do it
They're
right
like
now.
an hour.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Call up Jake the Snake and see if he's stopping by.
Is Jake? When's that Jake
Tomorrow.
the Snake shit? Is that tomorrow?
Yeah.
How much
Oh,
is
wait,
that?
no, that was today. Sorry.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah.
We should have done that. We should have had that there.
Yeah.
Should have just sat outside talking about wrestling until he came over to it.
I want to see a Rowdy Roddy or whatever that's on like Always Sunny and stuff sometimes too.
He's
Yeah.
not
Dead.
going to be on there
He
anymore.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see him.
Sad.
He did.
Probably
Well, you
can.
could.
I mean, you could.
I mean,
But you have to die too,
No,
theoretically.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
fucking had the answer
The proof
there, but
isn't
he
there
changed
yet.
the question
I have a
by dying.
shovel. Just saying, like I could see it.
God, I would love to
The
see a
animal.
tag team with Rowdy and Danny DeVito.
The animal.
The trash man.
Yeah.
I want to see a tag team of Roddy Piper and Keith David. That's what I want to see.
Motherfucking Keith David.
President.
Just
Keith
God, I love that
fight for
movie
the
too.
whole
Though.
show.
Yeah.
What was the movie though?
They live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. I just watched.
He's
that,
like, he's like, I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum.
I'm all out of
Put on the
gum.
sunglasses,
Yeah.
fight for 10 minutes. You know he's the one who coordinated that shit.
Oh, for sure.
All right. So,
Best B movie. We did have some social media though.
What we
Good.
got?
Let's hear it.
Some. Beverage said Paul Bear, which I
For
agree with.
manager.
For manager?
Over that.
Yeah.
The
I
thing
think
is,
so.
man, the Paul Bearer sucked. Who said that?
Our friend Beverage.
Beverage, you're wrong, and this is why. Paul Bearer managed one person.
Bullshit. Bullshit. You're neglecting his entire run in the territories. He managed a lot of people.
Really? As
Yeah.
the Paul Bearer?
He was
No,
a great
that
as
character?
Percy Kringle.
Who else could have gotten an urn over though?
You remember Chuck's
that
impersonation?
voice.
He'd be, oh, Luke,
So the other,
Luke, you've been doing wrong things.
I don't know who this guy is. Ben Show. I mean, it's all in caps, and he just says, Jimmy Hart. I don't know who that
Yeah,
is
Mouth of
either.
the
Jimmy
Mouth
Hart.
of the South,
Yeah,
Jimmy
baby.
Hart, but he didn't do shit either. He was
Oh,
honestly
but
he made
He got a
music.
lot of people over with the music.
Yeah,
But
he did like
that's not
Real
managing.
American.
Before
he
you
did,
guys get
No,
into
that
it,
was Rick
Brothers
Derringer.
Fight Again, Beverage also said after
He
that,
did make American
this
Made.
music is intense.
That's some good. I like it.
That's
It-
fine.
is
that your final
that was
answer?
produced by me actually. I felt it had a real Weakest Link vibe to it.
Oh,
you know?
I was
No, I
thinking.
like
I was
it.
thinking,
I like
Who
that
Wants to Be a
too.
Millionaire?
Yeah. Okay.
This is the same
Alright.
same vibe.
So, question number 4. This is the question that I picked because I really wanted to see what the answers, what people would say for this. The question that I picked was best masked or face painted wrestler of all time, but everybody picked a masked wrestler, and we're back with Belleville if you want to give your answer.
El Santo.
Yeah. All right, Lasley.
Rey Mysterio Jr.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are both really good answers,
And Jimmy Toledo.
but not as good as my answer, which is Jushin Thunder Liger. So Jushin Thunder Liger has held 11 IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championships in his career. That's the most ever in that promotion.
That's the most ever.
Well, that's the most ever in that
12 is
promotion.
more than 11.
He's held
Yeah, it's more than 11.
He's held, let's see, he's held championship gold, either as tag or single, in 12 promotions.
Name them all.
I can't name them. He's been
Half of them were in
wrestling. He's been wrestling for as long as I've been fucking alive, 35 years. He's retiring on January
This
4th
year.
of next year.
Oh yeah, 20. Yeah.
So he'll have touched
month.
36 years.
yeah.
But not
What a
quite
legacy.
making 36, just shy of it. But yeah, he's been wrestling for going on 36 years and has held a lot of gold
Well, then he's irrelevant.
and has had a lot. I mean, El Santo's been dead for 40
I mean,
years.
you could say it, but I'm like 100. Your answer is on their tail end of their fucking career too. They're on a legacy run.
He's
right
on
now.
his third
That
set
was
of
a
knees.
Throwback to DDP.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say that my only argument with mine is that you probably wouldn't have the popularity of masked wrestlers as being a phenomenon if it wasn't for El Santo. There
I'd say
has
Rey Mysterio Jr.
I feel like the reason why Rey Mysterio has a mask is because of El Santo. El Santo was a 40s masked wrestler.
50s, but primarily,
50s, and he had become such a cultural icon that he has like had comic books, movies made. But all of this is like the masked wrestling phenomenon is, and he is such a staple of luchador culture that the reason he is the reason why luchadors are.
Here's something I can actually say as an outside fan. You know, someone not in the know and stuff. I don't know who the fuck El Santo is, and I know who Rey Mysterio Jr. is. So sure, if you're in the know, El Santo might be the person who popularized that, but Rey Mysterio Jr. is the one who put it over and gave it to the masses.
Have Rey Mysterio or El Santo either face Minoru Suzuki in a shoot fight?
You're like, again though, you're just building his argument. Because who's Suzuki? I know who Suzuki-gun is. He's the most fucking scariest man.
He's the scariest
he broke
man.
fucking
He's a
Ken
crossover
Shamrock's ankle.
superstar.
He fucking he was a legit badass.
Still
and,
is.
Yeah, still
He
completely.
stretches young boys for fun.
He forces the fans to throw away garbage. No, he's right.
That's what they.
They're like, hey,
Okay.
stretch me, and he'll be like, all right. And
Sorry.
he'll put like a knee in the back and.
Glossary term: young boys is what they call rookie wrestlers in the Japanese system.
They're the young lions.
Young lions in New
Can we-
Japan
Can we
specifically.
take like a second time out? Did you guys ever fight as kids?
Yes.
Me and Luke, we would perform this shit and it would get real intense.
Yeah.
And we would really like
You watch wrestling and
Him and his friend beat the shit out of me with kendo sticks.
often.
that's all I wanted to segue and go back.
But like I understand that you feel like I'm talking over to you but that's because you're like we're in West Virginia, you know. But if you're Mexican, El Santo is a legend. It's like Zorro or some shit. It's like a cultural definition. Dude's a superhero. It's like Superman for like the like people in Mexico. Like
Yeah.
he is
Jushin
like.
Thunder Liger is a real life anime come to life.
I give respect
Legit,
to Jushin
he-
Thunder Liger only because, dude, I'm such a huge fan. But I don't think that even like I do know that the masked wrestler in Japan came from the luchador culture. Who popularized the luchador culture in the 50s? It was luchador culture. Yeah, you're right. Popularized luchador.
Look at
culture.
you over here perpetuating lucha culture.
But I feel like the mask wouldn't be as such a precedent if it wasn't for El Santo and his his legacy in a dawning time.
Well, I mean, there were other masked wrestlers before him, like Mr. Wrestling, and
Was Mr. Wrestling Hulk Hogan?
no,
Do you keep going back to Hulk Hogan?
No.
He's not the only wrestler,
no,
Luke.
no, that was what was it, Mr. America?
Oh yeah, that's right.
But no,
Mr. Wrestling.
or Mr. X, or
Was that what was Ric Flair's mask gimmick?
oh fuck, I even forget. But
Hey, man,
but
damn, it's Ric Flair.
the wrestling, the mask gimmick was a thing. Primarily, to be like, oh, is this heel coming back? Who's this masked man? Oh, it's the big heel, of
But
course.
not in Mexico.
But not in Mexico. They took
Lucha
it
culture
and made
is
it
like
their thing.
and that's a
But-
goddamn shame. And then here's a step on Ray. Ray sold his mask for dirt cheap. If you're a luchador in Mexico, your mask is your fucking lineage. You hand that
Yeah,
down to your child.
Rey Mysterio-
Ray, his dad was Rey Mysterio as well.
Yeah, that's his uncle.
Oh, that's his uncle. But his uncle handed him down the mask as a family lineage, and he got to perpetuate like luchador culture.
That's on
the
Rick-
luchadors are like the character lives on.
I will
for
say
years
this.
and years and years.
There was a period in WCW where Rey Mysterio wrestled Sans Mask. I think that should disqualify him entirely.
Yeah, he should be out because, and then that's why he's junior. Because before he was Rey Mysterio.
No,
in
he is Rey
WCW.
Mysterio. He was Rey Mysterio Jr. in WCW.
All right, so he had to drop the junior so he could put the mask back on.
Yes.
And because he wrestled for so long without a mask. And the whole thing was like fucking Eric Bischoff was like, these dudes are handsome. We want to see his pretty face.
Juventud
you fucking
Guerrero
asshole.
was not handsome.
Hoovy was ugly as
He
shit.
was an ugly motherfucker.
He needed that guy.
Before or after the beast?
Probably during.
During.
Probably during. Still ugly. La Parka.
Super
That
crazy?
motherfucker
Never lost his mask.
never lost his mask. Props to him. But
The chairman.
Which
I-
one though? Which one?
LA Park.
LA
and
Park.
LA Park is La Parka. But
Plug out a little bit.
But like,
that's right.
it's El Santo 100% because there would be. I don't feel like it would be as popularized. It would be still just like a taboo thing. It would be
Ooh,
like
yeah,
El
he fought
Generico
the Wolf
bullshit.
Man. Who cares?
God damn it, Kyle.
Kyle.
Touch him. I didn't fucking touch him.
Jesus,
But-
Kyle.
But yeah, I think as far as years in active wrestling,
It's kind of toe to toe between you two on years of active wrestling because they both came out of WCW around the same time.
Mysterio didn't start until the 90s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was young as shit when he got to WCW. But he's seen New Japan through its biggest periods and its lowest periods. He's been at top of the cruiserweight scene. He even did some heavyweight stuff whenever Chono was was booking and trying to just like, nah, we don't do cruisers anymore. Yeah, no, he's been in a lot of good feuds. He feuded with not Davey Boy, but with the Bulldog, the Bulldogs. Who's Tommy? Fucking. Goddamn.
I mean, he's like or not Hoovy, but fucking your dude.
Ray Mysterio.
No,
Mine,
not your dude.
Jushin.
Jushin Thunder Liger has been super influential in like almost every modern wrestler.
Yeah.
There's like his work in PWG. PWG is like the indie.
He did the
that-
thumb in the butt spot.
Yeah, where everybody and it's like everybody from WWE right now. They all just took their thumbs and put it in each other's butts, but he was the leader of the Human Centipede. And then he does this move where he goes wiggle, 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 flip, and then a line of like 10 dudes all
Let's
take
see
the bump.
Santo do that.
Yeah, El Santo wouldn't have done that because he's a fucking legit monster.
Or speaking of legit monsters, let's talk about the heel persona, which I don't think either of your dudes had the balls to go heel.
Yeah,
He comes out with a fucking scythe, and that's some scary shit.
that's very true. But he wouldn't have had a mask if it wasn't for El Santo. Neither of you dudes would have a mask if it wasn't for El
But
Santo.
his mask is way better than El Santo's.
I mean, like, stylistically,
Yeah.
you can argue that if you want to, but he wouldn't have even donned a goddamn mask if it wasn't for the popularization of El Santo.
and
No
he's
one in
wrestled.
America would understand the mask if it wasn't for Rey Mysterio Jr.
I feel like
He's
that
wrestled
is
for-
untrue because prior to, there was also masked wrestlers, but it was like Luke said, it was a gimmick to bring back bad guys. Like, here comes
We're
Hulk Hogan.
good guys.
But
Bad
the-
guy
the-
loses to the loser in his town
understanding
match
of
and
the
comes back as
luchador
the.
mask.
The luchador culture, I think, was like popularized in America by Rey Mysterio. But guess who Rey Mysterio and his family was probably inspired by?
I think the
El
Guerreros
Santo.
had a bigger impact than El Santo or
You're
Mysterio.
and still on luchador culture. Yeah,
in
you're probably right.
America specifically.
In America specifically, it's
because
probably the Guerreros.
they were wrestling out of Texas and
Yeah.
LA in the 70s.
But guess
and the
who
80s.
influenced them? El Santo.
I think they were pretty much like, especially the Elder Guerreros.
We're contemporaries with.
Rory were contemporaries with El Santo.
Right, and El Santo was what? The champion for fucking 15 fucking years. And what
Yeah.
eventually became CMLL and AAA. But before then, it was all unified into one global or one national federation in Mexico
Yeah.
that worked on the border. And El Santo was so over. He was Hulk Hogan before Hulk Hogan. Like he
Yeah,
was
no-
such a global
no
phenomenon.
doubt. He was-
that his
he wasn't
movies.
global,
he had
though.
fucking. Oh, he was global.
He was strictly Mexican.
No, those movies fed in, but they were like
Those are Spanish
Hipster-
movies for
for hipster fucking marks. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
but-
But you wouldn't have masks, I don't think, in the same popularized culture if it wasn't for those people that are idolizing this superhero.
And while
And he became a superhero for a fucking nation, man.
And while
That's
yeah,
a big
there
fucking
were people
country,
in
dude.
Japan that went over and came back with masks.
I-
That wasn't until after. That wasn't
Nah,
until
there
well
was a-
after the time of the Saints. Okay, and also the early mask gimmicks in Japan were completely different. They were based on anime. So you got Tiger Mask, which was an anime at the time.
Dude, El Santo.
Jushin
influenced
Thunder Liger
before-
himself was an anime at the time.
That's true. And Tiger Mask was like that is also like the Tiger Mask versus Kid Dynamite match.
Yeah.
In what like 78
And he's
or something
fought
was
every
like
single
was one
Black
of those
Tiger.
like matches
He's
that
had
were like
feuds with Eddie Guerrero. He's had feuds with Chris Benoit. He's had feuds with pretty
every
much
wrestler
every-
that could have been influenced by El
El Santo wrestled a low impact main event gimmick style.
Just like Hulk Hogan did.
Just like Hulk Hogan did.
And he was a superstar. But guess what
That's
he didn't do?
not the high
He
flying
didn't use
lucha style that
racism.
we understand today.
He didn't
You know
hate
who
a
else
race of
didn't
people.
use racism? But that's besides the point. He didn't.
How are you gonna follow that? Who cares?
That's besides the point. Hulk Hogan's
Besides-
racist. That's something we all know and understand.
I just think it needs to be said often because
Well,
he's
yeah,
still racist.
no, let's, Hulk Hogan is racist. Hulk Hogan is racist. Hulk Hogan is racist. Fuck that orange skinned motherfucker.
But El Santo made like 7 fucking awesome movies that were great. He was
Yeah.
a champion for 15
Like I
years. in
said,
a
he
whole
wrestled
fucking
the
country.
Wolfman. Who cares?
Why are orange people racist?
I just that's a
Are we racist for hating orange people?
no because they do it to themselves.
It's more of a like a brown. Really tart brown.
He's a hot dog and motherfucker. I
Yeah,
think
hot
Macho
dog.
Man would agree with me.
Yeah.
But
You a bitch, Hogan.
rest
Yeah,
in
like
peace.
you a punk, Hogan. Haven't you heard? Macho Man's back. That's the word. Macho Man's rap album is awesome. We should have had the best rapper of wrestling. Should be a
It's John
question.
Cena, hands down.
John Cena is pretty sure. But anyways, yeah, El Santo wins. I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's Jushin Liger because
This is
the
the
breadth
weakest
of his
argument.
career. He's wrestled in America. He's wrestled in Japan. He's wrestled in Mexico. He's held gold fucking
I can tell
everywhere.
that this is the weakest argument because Luke isn't crying and I'm not yelling at him.
I just think
It's
as far as
not bad, it's in
accomplishments
between, yeah.
worldwide, places they've touched. He's wrestled in NWA, New Japan, All Japan.
Yeah,
Noah,
my pick is
he's wrestled
more
in
of the cultural impact.
WCW. He's wrestled in WWE. He's getting over.
But can you
everywhere.
deny the cultural impact of El Santo? I yield a lot. But do you think,
Sure,
do
he
you
had
think Ray would,
he had a great big cultural impact in Mexico.
I think in wrestling in general.
He has not had the worldwide reach that was benefited to a modern wrestler.
that Mr. Nanny had. Yeah, you're right.
No, I'm
Or
not
whatever.
arguing about Hulk Hogan. I'm arguing about Jushin Thunder fucking Liger.
He has a current cultural impact, and I'll agree with that he's wrestled a bunch of, but I don't think that he would have donned a mask if it wasn't for the
I argue
luchador
that he
culture.
would because he was trying to get an anime character over, and you can't. I mean, you're doing like a fucking mech anime character. You can't have a human face. You're going to need a mask.
That sounds stupid.
Well, okay, let's go with that. Yeah, getting over anime characters is stupid, but you know who got it fucking over? Jushin fucking Thunder Liger.
Yeah, you know who didn't have 7 movies? Jushin fucking Liger.
You know who didn't need 7 movies to get over? Jushin fucking Thunder
I think
Liger.
he kind of does because like Rey Mysterio is way over with no movies than Jushin Thunder Liger on a global impact. 816 is what it's called now.
So there were a lot of interesting terms thrown out.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, so Mark is a wrestling fan.
Well,
Who buys
no,
into
it was,
it.
specifically the ones that stuck out to me were Stretch's Young Boys for Fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Just,
And then
Chris just perked up and was like, what the fuck?
Stretch's Young Boys for Fun is young boys are what the Japanese call the up and coming wrestlers who are training.
Rookie wrestlers.
Rookie wrestlers are called young boys, and they're in like that senpai culture, and where they have to live with the elder wrestlers. They all live in the same house, and the young boys do all the laundry, do all the cooking, do all the cleaning, and then for fun, I'm going to stretch it out because
Well,
you
they
gotta-
need to
you-
be stretched out. They
you gotta
they
learn-
need to get used to taking these moves.
Like if I did a figure 4 on you right now, it'd hurt like fuck because you're not stretched out. But if you want me to stretch you out, and reach out, I as your senpai would go ahead and just stretch your legs out
Yeah,
real quick.
or,
Our
you
balls
know-
might touch. And if you get a boner,
Okay,
that's on
okay.
you.
How about this? Why don't you go ahead, do a back bend on your head, and I will sit on your chest.
That's exactly like he mentioned a wrestler, Suzuki-gun. What's
Yeah.
his real name?
Minoru Suzuki.
Minoru Suzuki. I was at a Ring of Honor, and in the middle, he had 4 young boys in the middle. This is in Columbus, and I was lucky enough to go before the taping. And Minoru Suzuki was walking around while these boys were like doing these like leg over here, back over here, laying flat out, and he would go over and he would just take his foot and put it on their fucking shoulders to stretch them all the way to where they were flat.
Okay.
And the people would be like,
This sounds really weird.
Can we close before I forget everything that was said?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just
I mean, if you
getting really distracted.
Let's
you want
start
this to be-
with Matt.
Before our
if you want
channel
this to
gets
be
kicked
your
off of
closing argument, you
YouTube,
can.
talking
Um,
about stretching young boys.
But we'll start with Matt Belton.
essentially El Santo was a masked wrestler who popularized to such an extreme at an early point in time, like it was the 50s and 40s. This is like his championship run, but it was such a large impact that he was then able to be like the first wrestling to other like popular media crossover, where you make movies, comic books, and cartoons. And he, although it was mostly in Mexican, but the Mexican-Japanese connection and the Mexican luchador people sought to go wrestle there, that El Santo was that of legend. And not only in a wrestling culture, but in a popular culture there. So that's mostly like legacy only is the reason being. The popularization of current culture, I would almost yield to both of my competitors, but I don't think that they would be having as much of popularity as a masked wrestler without El Santos being in existence. That's it.
All right, Lisley.
Okay, so Jushin Thunder Liger or whatever sounds dumb as shit. It's you're wrestling to put over an anime character, like that to me is just like you're a product at that point.
With my trap card.
And it's I don't know. I don't like it. It doesn't sound fun. The reason I picked Rey Mysterio Jr. as best masked wrestler is A, because he was fun to watch. Everybody knows the 619. They know the fucking Hurricane Rana, all that shit. That he was just high flying and fun to watch, and he's who most people think of when they think of the high flying luchador. He's kind of like mine and Matt B's argument. It's what we see a lot on here. It's what's better, the thing that created the thing or the thing that came after it and added to it. And it depends on, who's judging, who picks what. But to me, it's always the thing that improves upon the thing before it. And I feel like Ray did that with the luchador culture. And there was a jab thrown out that he lost his mask for a time, and he got it back
By changing his name.
And to me, that's fine. It makes him the best because the best masked wrestler with that asterisk there, because nobody gave a fuck about him without the mask, but he gets the mask back and people are like, fucking Ray's back, like hell yeah. And you get to watch the fun of a Rey Mysterio match. He can go against people his own size. Well, nobody's really his own size. He's short as fuck. But he can go against people that are huge, like the Big Show, and it's always fucking entertaining. His ring work is great. And I just feel like he is the name synonymous with masked wrestling.
Hate to do this, but I'm gonna say I can't wait for the Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio. It's bound to happen.
Oh yeah.
All right, Ken.
All right. Well, first of all, his ring work might be impeccable, but Jushin Thunder Liger has never killed anyone in the ring. Rey Mysterio has.
Badass.
It wasn't on purpose.
Oof, double oof.
And El Santo is great. He may have started the culture, but yeah, it's back to that argument, like he said. Who started it? Who done it better? It's a completely different style, and the fact that he wrestled initially with that gimmick to get over an anime, but the fact that he kept that gimmick 30 years after the anime is over and was more over than the anime itself. it just stands to say like his longevity in this business, and proves my point that he is one of the greatest to have ever stepped in between the ropes. He has won 2 of the Super J Cups, which is a inter-promotional tournament with junior heavyweights that included WCW and WWF belts. He has won within its own promotion, New Japan, 3 of the Battle of the Super Juniors tournaments, which is a grueling tournament over a month. That just solidifies like how how well liked he is as a junior heavyweight wrestler. He has influenced people in America. He has influenced people in Mexico. He has influenced people in Japan. And worldwide, this man has had a reach that neither of your competitors, I'll be honest in saying, has had. Rey Mysterio is not over in Japan. El Santo is not over in Japan. But Jushin Thunder Liger is over in Japan, in America, in Mexico. The 3 big territories in the worldwide market. And it's
in Germany.
I'm just playing. Fuck Europe. No, even in Europe, the English podcasts I listen to put him over greatly. He's also, I mean, that's where he cut his teeth. Actually, was in Germany in All Star Wrestling, but that was pre-gimmick. But anywho, he has popularized the cruiserweight style that got over here in the 90s. He wrestled the first match on Monday Nitro. He
Versus who?
versus Flying Brian Pillman.
I thought it was Jericho.
No. That was Jericho wasn't in the company yet.
Yeah, he was still in.
He was still in ECW or in CMLL. I forget which. He's one of the greatest that have ever done it, and the fact that he is still doing it in 2019 proves it.
Battle of the Super Juniors sounds like a great place to stretch young boys.
Gross.
All right, so
No more pedophilia jokes, please.
No promises.
Yeah, I mean, this
So-
week, no more.
Oh, did we hit our quota?
I'm not going to give points one way or another for this, but like a couple, you pointed out and talked about how El Santo's mask was pretty generic, but he was the originator. So Jushin Thunder Liger, if we were going on masks alone, Jushin
Best
Thunder
mask.
Liger.
I don't know.
He's got horns and all
Dude,
kinds of
I'm a
shit.
The
pretty
big
big
crazy
fan.
hair.
I'm a,
But I love Ray's mask.
I'm
too.
pretty big fan of,
And especially
of
how he changes up the style sometimes.
my
Yeah.
favorite
He
mask.
did like the Marvel stuff, I think.
Yeah, the color changing.
My
on it
favorite
pretty
mask
great.
is La Parka.
It's great, like the skeleton and the whole.
Oh,
It's
dude,
Psychosis.
I own
Psychosis was amazing.
I own a La Parka mask. Like I love that.
But you
mask
have
so
to pair
much.
it with a steel chair in the dance.
Yeah, you do.
I need to get
Um,
a parka if that.
It's just the Parka. That's what his name is. The
No,
Parka.
it's La Parka.
That's why he has the hood. That makes
Nobody
sense now.
picked Mankind, though.
Yeah.
I liked
not,
his mask.
That's
His
not
mask
like.
was a mask.
That's not
His
like
his
what-
mask was.
I know what you guys are saying.
His
and
mask
I
was
get it.
designed by Adrian Street.
Whatever.
one of the-
No,
one of the first
It,
I
it,
thought
it's
it
a
was
great
just a
mask,
mask.
and so is Kane.
I
You
thought
know,
it was just
Kane's
a
mask
catcher's
is
mitt.
mask.
Yeah.
Catcher's mitt that someone just cut a hole in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
kinda
it's not
thought-
like whenever you go like, who's your favorite masked wrestler? You don't think Kane. You think of like Rey
see,
Mysterio.
and
And
also
you
say-
guys
I
knew, but
also
this is
say-
coming from somebody that only played the games and only watched that era of.
But
pro
I also
wrestling.
said
That was
like
just my-
face paint, and I'm surprised that nobody went with like Sting
Yeah.
or
okay.
I
you
thought
said
about
face
Sting.
even Ultimate Warrior.
Sting would have been a hard
Yeah,
fight.
I hate Ultimate Warrior.
Fair
Like,
enough.
I'm the
Like he's kind of a
Ultimate
one-trick pony.
Warrior.
He's also garbage.
Gorilla
Yeah.
Flesh Slam
fucking
win.
garbage.
Woo!
If I was gonna go face makeup, it would have probably been like Sting, because like he's just like
Great
always looked
Muta.
cool. Even the Surfer Sting looked cool, and then the Crow Sting looked cool.
Yeah. But
and
Rey
also
Mysterio-
hard to think of another like painted
Great
Fa-
Muta.
Muta. Yeah. Who was the
Coco
NWO
Beware.
Japan dude?
What's his face? we were talking about Goldust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gold Dust.
And
Demolition
he also
Smash.
Did the
Right.
flying headbutt. That was one of his moves
Atom
too.
Bomb or no, he had the goggles, right?
Yeah, goggles. But that counts as a
no,
mask.
close enough.
Becky Lynch.
And Stevie Ray because he had sunglasses.
Asuka.
Oscar's got some dope ass makeup.
She got that one line.
So like with Rey Mysterio, you had a really good point where he did popularize that style of wrestling in the mainstream American wrestling probably, along with some others, but he was kind of the mask. I was going to say the face, but you guys dinged him with basically selling out with the mask, but Eric Bischoff and Ted Turner's money would do that to people.
Also, I was a mark for the Filthy Animals.
Yeah.
Filthy Animals were dope, but like honestly though, that's not even that's
It's
not Ray's fault.
blasphemy.
That's really
Right, it is blasphemy.
It is blasphemy because like that was a legacy.
But he was also like 19 or something.
yeah, he was a kid. And so they're like, hey, we're going to take away this money unless you take off your mask.
Right.
And then, but you know how much masks go for on like when you retire and you give up your mask in Mexico? That's like you have to ask.
It's like
for
selling your football ring.
It's like you're getting $1 million.
championship.
You get $1 million because you're done with wrestling pretty much. You can't come
but
back.
you did
after
good
that.
coming back from that and saying, well, he put the mask back on, and is just as popular as ever. El Santo is definitely the originator. Would somebody else have done it? Maybe, probably, but he's the one that did it. He's the one, like you said, like Tiger Mask. He was Tiger Mask before Tiger Mask, basically, with the movies and the cartoons and all this stuff. He was a Mexican superhero, But with Ray, I wish you would have talked a little bit more I wish you would have brought Liger down a little bit by saying but he's never had the
I don't
WWE.
even know who the fuck Liger
Right.
is.
Well, he talked about all the championships, but Rey Mysterio has had the WWE Championship a couple of times, I believe.
Yeah, and also he had some title runs in WCW.
Yeah,
as
he
well.
was cruiserweight. He's had a lot of gold. He may have been tag team at some
I'm not
point,
even going to
too.
say in defense for Liger, just because you're not aware of it doesn't mean that his impact isn't almost everyone that's currently wrestling in WWE at this point. What's his name? What's the spooky dude with all the Satanist dude? Luke, NXT.
Black.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but everyone that's currently now a big star, Lonnie Orkin and shit like that, they all have wrestled as oh god, I want to wrestle Liger. And he does that.
I'm not saying.
Yeah.
No, and I'm not dissing you for that. I'm just saying
I don't know who the fuck he is, so I can't.
And that was a
tear
good
it
point.
down.
That was
Right.
actually a good argument too. That you're I don't know who the fuck El Santo is. I don't know who Jushin Thunder Liger is. Although it's less of really an argument with Liger because he's been everywhere. But it's you know who Rey Mysterio is. You know
Everybody
his moves.
does.
You know. And for instance, Hurricane Rana. Maybe Scott Steiner's the one who really brought it to the American media. But you knew that Ray was going to pop out that Hurricane Rana.
The kick between the ropes may
the
have happened,
Frankensteiner, thank
happened
you.
before Ray,
Yeah.
but
Well,
what
yeah,
does
the
everyone
Frankensteiner
call it?
specifically?
Yeah.
That's the thing that is a good
Right.
point to you. I think is
Well,
the-
and
the-
he turned it into a move because it used to be just a fake out.
right.
And I don't, maybe somebody else did it, but he's the first
Exactly.
person I saw do it as a move.
But it may be a move. It may have been a move prior to him, but everyone that does it now, every Fed calls it the 619.
because he's from San Diego.
Right.
Um,
And it's definitely an homage to Ray.
I think that Matt, while you might not have argued as much, Matt Lasley, that is.
I'm Bill
it
Billy.
was-
That's
yeah,
me.
yeah. So Belleville, like you said, with El Santo, you kind of came out the gate and you were he was the originator. That's really my only argument.
That's it.
And it's a solid argument because of how much he was ingrained into the culture and everything, and because of how everything could be said comes from him, especially in the luchador world. But I think that Matt Lasley, while you might not have argued quite as much, you had a lot of really good points and you did a good job arguing. But I'm going to have to give it to Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah.
Because he was all over the place. He has so much gold. He's been all over the world. And with Rey Mysterio, it's you brought up that it's, mostly, it's mainstream American wrestling. with El Santo, with Liger, it's Japan. It's every fucking way. I think Canada for a while too.
Yeah.
Like,
So he did some time in cavalry.
Yeah.
How many fucking people has Jushin Thunder Liger killed?
That's a good point. None.
We'll give it back to
That was a cheap dig on me, on my
So Matt
part.
2 gets the point.
I had to go for it.
No, it goes to.
I
It goes
went for
Luke.
the
Yeah.
It goes Jim.
I went for the low hanging fruit on that. I'm sorry, Ray.
Ray didn't want to hurt nobody.
He didn't mean to. I know it. He just went for the trip up for the 619. Dude hit his fucking neck on the ropes.
Yeah.
Bad will do it. But yeah, those are all really good. Really good.
This has
picks.
been a great
Like I
debate.
said, it would have been a little bit closer if
although
Lasley,
you're not like super.
if Lasley had like
good arguments.
been able to talk more about like the Golden Ray is one is maybe even more well known and prestigious than all these titles that Liger has. That could have been an
Here's
argument.
how little I watch wrestling. I didn't want to say anything because I was unclear on if he. I knew he had shots. I was unclear if he ever won.
I think,
he's one.
He also pinned all like the super heavyweights in.
That's the thing I
in
love
WCW.
about Ray,
I
man.
covered
It's
that.
like
I
killer.
feel like I covered that.
I love about Ray is that he goes for he is the giant killer. He goes like they'll book him, like WWE and WCW will book him because he is like such a aerobat like he's such a technical like can worm around people. It's believable.
Yeah.
And then also like he attacks in a way too, like
Well, and
your lower
also-
like your knees, your ankles and shit like that.
Right.
He'll like pick away.
And the thing
Good
about
in-ring
another
psychology.
thing that I don't think was really brought up is, and that would have been a good argument for Rey Mysterio too, is like he's done it for a long time because he started when he was so young. He can still do it. He can still do the same thing pretty much. Like with Liger, it's like obviously he
It's
shows
kind of
his
hard
age
on your
more.
second set of knees.
Yeah.
But to be honest, that's why I went because I knew like I didn't know for a fact what Luke or what Jim was gonna say. I felt like it was gonna be a Japanese wrestler. I figured it would be like Tiger Mask, and honestly, I kind of wish I had picked Tiger Mask because like
Thing is, Tiger Mask is which one you're going to go with. Are you
Exactly.
going to go with the one that fought Tom Billings, or you're going to go with the one
Kid Dynamite era.
Yeah, so that's the OG.
Yeah, that's who I would have picked. I feel like that match between Kid Dynamite and Tiger Mask of that era changed how wrestling. It went from being like slow grappling dudes to the Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit,
Right. And
that
fun-
generation.
Fun fact-
And also the strong style stuff.
Yeah,
they laid
they
in on
created
each other.
But
Yeah.
speaking of Tiger Mask, I just want to say fun fact: the Tiger Driver is one of my all-time favorite moves.
Yeah. Which one? I like Tiger Driver
91.
97.
I thought you
I
were
like the
talking
91
about
right
Tiger
on the
Woods Golf Club.
head. What is it?
I thought you were talking about Tiger Woods Golf Club.
There
No.
we go.
The Tiger Driver.
That would hurt a lot more. That would hurt a lot more, probably. All right.
No, that's
So,
just-
so, it's, so we got 2 and 1 and 1. Now it's time for the blind fight. So I got a bag of
I
paper
gotta
here.
win this.
Got a
How
bag
much
of
you
paper
buy
here.
it for, man? I got paper for the cheap. I can get you a bag
I
of
got
paper
this
for
on the
like,
low.
for like
All right. So I want you guys just to
20 a
just pick
grand.
one out. They are double folded. Hopefully they're not stuck together. I tried to break them up, but just pick one out. They're double folded, so it's kind of weird. And just pick one out, and I'm going to explain what we're going to do.
Pick
All
one
right.
out.
Yeah, just pick one piece of paper out. Like I said, they're folded twice.
I want
so
Luke's
it's kinda
paper.
weird. So what we're going to do here, I got a scenario for you. Now, on these pieces of paper, you will see that there are names. Any similarities between the name on the sheet of paper and anyone living or dead is purely coincidental. These names are going to be your characters. This is going to be your gimmick.
Do you need help?
The
with this?
scenario is the three of you this Sunday on pay-per-view are in a three-way dance for the world title. So, I'm going to give you a minute to think about the name that you picked. And what you're going to do is I'm going to give you each 1 minute uninterrupted to shoot a promo on each other. So think about it for a second. You can make up moves. You can make up your whole thing, the name of your move or whatever. You're going to talk shit about how you're going to kick each other's ass at the pay-per-view
Like,
on
we have to
Sunday.
do this in character.
Yeah.
Can we share our
This
names?
is a great one, actually.
Can we share our names with each other?
Okay.
For
Chris can play too.
I mean, I'm
For no points.
I'm just curious.
Could it be,
What's in the bag?
What's in the bag?
yeah, could it be me versus Chris afterwards? Maybe I don't know.
Can we
I mean, I'm
share
trying to go get a
names
cheeseburger
So we
right
know
If you
who
want to,
promos
if
on?
you want to, so you can make your promo up a little bit better.
Yeah.
You can show your names to each other.
I'm upset no one got the name I just read.
There were some that were really good and some that were
Can
just
I have
kind of
one
good.
too?
Yeah.
Just for fun.
I just want to have one.
This one's weak as shit.
All right.
This sounds
I got
hilarious. It's a
I
good
got
idea.
you.
Here's your bag back.
I can't. All right, this is great.
I've really been looking forward to this part.
Audio. Gotta do voices.
Which one did you pull?
Yeah.
The tickler.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
This one is perfect.
Yeah.
You should do a whistle.
Show.
Ugh.
Show.
God damn it, Matt! What the fuck?
Oh, did you? Oh, you got the one. I was hoping somebody would get
I
that
feel
one.
like Matt's in the bathroom spot.
I came up.
Like,
so
I can't perform under these pressures.
He's gonna come in and Triple H.
The one I saw, the one
He's gonna throw a beer at
I
somebody.
wish I had a better Ric Flair impression. That's all I'm saying.
You're trying to get a cheeseburger.
I want a cheeseburger.
Man, cheeseburger sounds so dope right now.
Why did I earn that?
Nobody give me
You can get a
cheeseburgers.
cheeseburger. We're gonna go get a cheeseburger.
Sweet. Bye, guys.
I got 5 on it.
I got five. That's
Messing with Daddy no weed.
Man, you got pipes.
I sing sometimes.
I noticed.
Thank you for noticing.
Just now.
But I was saying as you were walking out that so you guys can prep your promo a little bit better, you can see each other's names if you want.
I got Tiny Dancer.
I got
Just remember the.
Yes, I was hoping somebody got Grandpappy.
Who goes first on this?
God.
Is this a three-way, or are we cutting specific promos?
No, this is uninterrupted. You'll each have 1 minute to cut your promo.
This is three-way dance.
Yeah, you guys are 3-way dance for the world title at the pay-per-view on Sunday. We'll say it's a vacated world title. Nobody has it yet, but you can hold it if you want to. I just don't want to give anybody a leg up. If anybody wants to go first, otherwise we can Rochambeau or however you guys.
Is Rochambeau it?
I'll just let whoever go first.
You want to?
There's also dice
I don't
on the
want to
table.
go first.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
dice
you
roll
go
will be better
first.
than a 3-way.
What was yours again?
Tiny Dancer.
Aw.
I'll go first.
Okay. I'll start when you start.
Ah, this Sunday that's more Irish. Can I start again? No. The Soviet, the Soviet, Vladimir, this Sunday will destroy as hard and as strong as our sickle and our hammer against the weak walker, Grandpappy. That's still very Irish. Very Irish.
Go with it.
But anyways, cold as borscht, I will be drunk on pure potato vodka. And take down also the tiniest performer, the Tiny Dinosaur. God damn it, still Irish. I will win title for Mother Russia. Shit, I'm sorry. I mean,
God, my monster.
you're not a monster. I'm a monster. A monster for Mother Russia. That's it. That's all I got. Sorry about.
Mad if you broke my table.
I
Fucked up
didn't.
my table at all.
I'll buy a new table. Shit, bitch.
Sorry. Irish monster, I think.
That's not Irish. I'm supposed to be Soviet. I'm just bad with accents.
Soviet monster.
God damn it. This is great.
Does anybody want to go next?
Can you?
I'm still thinking up finishers.
I should have named the Iron Wall. I'll get you in the Iron Wall.
Or the Trump.
The Trump? I'll influence your body like Trump has influenced how I influenced Trump's administration.
Probably gonna get kicked off the
Someone needs to go. I already went. This is bullshit. I didn't have this much prep time, bitches.
He's looking up inspiration.
Yeah.
for a tiny dance.
Are you gonna go?
I'll just go.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm using some note things here. I hope that's okay.
That's fine.
Can I pretend to be Mean Gene?
As long as you don't interrupt. I don't care. Whenever you're ready, I'll start.
Okay. This Sunday, Jesus will be freaking out in the streets.
they'll be handing tickets out for God. No one will be laughing on this boulevard because this Sunday the Tiny Dancer is going to hold you all closer, and you'll be counting the headlights on the highway when I'm done kidding. You'll be laying down in sheets of linen, hospital linen. The Tiny Dancer is coming for you.
I liked it.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't say Vladimir Lenin.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It was.
Might be right.
All right.
Listen up, Sonny. Grandpappy's here to tell you that I'm here to tear down the iron wall of the Soviet, and I'm gonna hold the Tiny Dancer as close as I can when I get him in the rocking chair home. I've held that belt before over the course of the past 40 years, and there's no one here or in Russia or in England where that Tiny Dancer comes from that's gonna keep me from getting that belt back. I'll tell you right now, this Sunday at the community center, in front of the hundreds of mildly entertained fans, Grandpappy's gonna walk out assisted, but still holding up.
Yeah.
I would give it to Grandpappy. That was great.
Easy. I can't do
was
accents.
great.
That's
You
not
know-
my fault.
Everybody did really well.
I can do
like-
old. I can be old.
I thought they
Well,
were
but
hilarious.
I mean, you threw in the borscht and the context clues. It was fine. But Grandpappy nailed it with his accent, and
Everyone can play old. Fuck you, Luke. Jim, sorry.
to be fair,
The
To be
rocking
fair.
chair hold.
To be fair.
You know that's a Steiner recliner, right?
The rock.
but you got to rock with him.
Yeah, you gotta rock. It's a.
But
How'd that go? Is that like
I-
your sex, dude?
There
That's
were
weird.
there were several different ones that I put in there that were all very like stereotype of like there was
The Soviet's good.
there was a Soviet, there was Union Jack.
Oh.
And
All right, Governor. I can do a British accent. All right, Governor. This Sunday. This Sunday, I'm going.
That sounds more
Me and you,
Australian.
we're going to go toe to toe. If you don't like it, I'm going to bust your mash up real good.
You better bring
I'm
your
gonna
cup
give
of
you
tea
some
when
Bangers and mash.
You better bring your cup of tea when you stand next to me, boy. So yeah, I'm giving that to Grandpappy. So that's what 311,
I'm just gonna leave now.
311. So
311
I've always
was an
been
inside
down.
job.
Amber is the color of your energy, boys.
will,
I disagree. Mine
do
is
something
violent red.
unprecedented and concede.
Oh.
All right. I was hoping for a tiebreaker, but that works.
All right, we'll do a tiebreaker. Fuck it.
All right.
Tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker. What we're going to do
I hope I
is
don't win.
you're not in the
I'm out.
tiebreaker.
I'm gonna go pee.
By this
All right.
chair.
What we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys a speed round style question. And since we're going into the speed round momentarily, it's a good time to go ahead and explain the rules
You should like
of the
pump,
speed
up,
round.
pump this up so we can
So-
have a tie. Speed round between the three of us, it's 2 points.
That's a good idea, but we're not.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you guys a question. The first person to blurt out an answer, whatever you go with, will be the second person.
Erectile dysfunction.
I have
win.
to say the question.
Oh.
The first person to give an answer will be the second person to go, as it were. So the way the speed round works is you get 30 seconds to pitch your, why your answer's the best. Then the other person goes 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Then you each get a 15-second rebuttal. Okay? This is uninterrupted. Again, I'm going to give you a question. Just blurt out an answer whenever you get to it. I forgot Hunter S. Thompson. That was a good one, too.
Oh, man.
I got a bunch of them here. Ollie, the goddamn tornado of pain with a funny name, Whistlebee. That was my favorite.
Hunter S.
all right.
Thompson.
I like that one.
I would
Hit you
have
with the fear and the loathing.
been like,
This is backcountry. So I'm gonna give you a category. Like I said, first person to give an answer will go second.
Erectile dysfunction.
I haven't given you a category yet. I'm trying to see if I can work that in anywhere, but I don't think so.
You can't because you
Can't work it with anything.
You can't work
You've
it
got
in
it.
anywhere. Like,
It's just
that's
what
the
you got
point.
now.
Like,
You gotta.
you gotta have those blue pills.
Sorry, honey.
ball
I'm
it
just
up and
gonna have
work
to
it
go
in.
down.
Yep.
Again.
Right. So the category is best stable of all time, best group of all time.
NWO.
What?
Best stable or best group, like wrestling group of all time.
DX.
All right.
That's apples and oranges, man. That's like a good argument.
So Lasley goes first. I'm ready whenever you're ready.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I'm mad about it.
I'll get you one.
So NWO was a bunch of great athletes thrown together, and with DX, you had people who actually were making a name for themselves with this group. It was awesome to watch Triple H and Shawn Michaels come up together and fucking just run wild on the rest of the promotion. Whereas NWO, you had Hogan, who was a heel finally, and he was boring as shit, as usual. DX,
I kind of accidentally fucked up and gave you a little bit of lead. So
I
stopped
needed
it.
It's alright. You can have it.
All right.
Do you want me to be the timer? I'll just yell stop.
No, I got it. Thank you, though. I just fucked up before I started. Whenever you start talking, I'll start the timer.
Disgusting.
burping is not talking.
It's not.
It doesn't count.
NWO and DX are both offshoot of the Clique, which was essentially Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. They both like did the curtain call, so they're equivalently. But I feel like the Impact and they took a dying company and resurrected it only with two people pretty much. Everyone else just jumped on the bandwagon. It wasn't like they had to. At one point in time, it was the NWO show with some minor characters.
Right. There you go.
I didn't even diss your shit though. I was like, yeah, that's good shit too.
It's your only problem. You haven't been here long enough.
You got this, dude.
I just can't take a shit on shit I love.
DX was the Attitude Era. They were nothing but attitude, and they were what brought that into the forefront of WWE and a resurgence of wrestling that we haven't seen to this day. DX kind of pioneered that. NWO back.
Whenever you're ready.
I disagree with the piggyback statement. I believe NWO presets from DX, but it's almost a time is like a split second between it. But NWO had the impact to bring back the company. They single-handedly were the angle to resurrect that company.
Can I interject real quick? It took me like so much effort not to say boo when you said Impact.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Belleville.
Good.
With the NWO.
What I appreciate about DX is that it didn't get too big.
That's what I was
If
about
you
to say.
would've
With
said-
NWO, like if you're like everyone was in the NWO, they're like 25 people. It sucked. It just got watered down.
You gotta
DX was
shout out
strong
to
for longer
Conan for
periods.
always standing right behind whoever was giving the promo.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, and the addition of Road Dogg and Billy Gunn was amazing.
Yeah.
And it
That's
was
what
only
everyone who was in DX
X-Pac too.
added to it.
X-Pac, I like to think is the champion there because he was in both. He was in both of those fucking
He
and
was
like
also super tiny. He was like the Muggsy Bogues of professional wrestling
dude,
back then.
similar to
But
Ray.
he was
They
badass.
love putting him against big dudes. He was the giant killer before Ray.
Well, and
Yeah,
when he
he's the
tagged
first-
with
he
Kane
was
too,
the
that
first
was
to
an
defend
awesome.
Razor
so
Ramon.
good.
Yeah.
So there are no points awarded for that one, though. Correct?
No, I'll award a point for it. So it's
No, I
three.
just mean
That was just to determine who moves on.
that was the tiebreaker, so we don't give another person a point.
Right, I'm at one.
Okay, we can do that.
I mean, I thought that's how it went.
Maybe it is. I've only judged one time.
If Jim, like, it'd be unfair to give
Him a
Belleville
point when he couldn't get
or
a
me
point.
a point.
Right. Yeah, you're right. All
But
right.
I feel
so,
like going forward, you should make that round a round and give 2 points so anyone can come up. But whatever, I don't
Right.
give a fuck.
No,
It's
that's,
your own
that's a
shit.
good idea. I thought about it whenever you said that. All right, so Lasley, unfortunately, not moving on to the speed round.
Good.
Well, you had a lot of good
I'm
points.
done thinking about
He's
wrestling.
out of the business. He's
Never work in
retired.
this town again.
As
Back next year.
as part of
DDP yoga.
tradition, you
DDPY.
have to sit there awkwardly.
Don't call it yoga. He'll get
I
mad.
think
I don't have
All right.
to. Jim never
So-
does.
What?
So,
it's true. It's not fair. I don't think.
and Brian would leave right now. So.
I think part
No,
of
he
the
usually
tradition.
sits here and plays on his phone. and-
Yeah, usually.
We should argue now at Matt
Yeah.
instead of facing each other.
Yeah.
Like we get mad and we're like,
God damn it, Matt!
All right. So, now we're on to the speed round again. First person to answer my question will go second. Get 30 seconds to pitch, 30 seconds to pitch, 15-second rebuttal, 15-second rebuttal, uninterrupted. The first official speed round question is best finishing move.
first person to answer, Razor's Edge.
Vertebreaker.
God, you're stuck on that.
So Jim, whenever you want to start, I'm ready.
So the Vertebreaker is the best finishing move because it could legit fucking hurt you. It's hard to judge, and you know you can legit end a man's career with it, and believably, even in kayfabe. It's a pile driver, which is also probably one of the better finishing moves because you're just landing a dude on their neck. If you can't believe that, then you should probably watch a different sport. It's
This
but-
is actually-
As determined in our very last debate. Or, no, 2 debates ago.
I'm ready when you're ready.
The Razor's Edge is a safer move than the Vertebreaker, and that's why a part of it is. But it's also a crushing, like almost power bomb. Also, it shows whoever performs its immense upper body strength. They just launch a motherfucker in the air to where they can land safely on the back bump that they've taken a million times. But it's still a believable, punishing move. You have already, like as a finisher, it's protected to where the Vertebreaker people get out of whenever it's performed. The Razor's Edge is the end of this statement.
All right, whenever you're ready to rebut.
Sure, the Razor's Edge is an impressive power move for larger wrestlers, but the Vertebreaker can be done by just about anyone as long as you can get them into the double underhook backwards. Kudo driver. Let's call it the Kudo driver because that's what it is. It was invented by a Japanese wrestler. I forgot that's only 15 seconds. Damn.
I'm ready when you're ready.
A finisher is supposed to be special and unique, and that's why the Vertebreaker can be performed by anybody, but only people who are strong, like Razor Ramon, can perform such upper body feats, and a monster in tall, length, and strong stature can perform a Razor's Edge. It was the first one I thought of. It's not even actually my favorite finish.
That's the thing about the speed round.
I just said
Favorite
Stunner.
fetish?
Finish.
Stunner is a great one because anybody can do it. I think like you guys brought up that about the Vertebreaker. Nobody knocked it down, but I was like, no, like I don't see like Hurricane doing that to Big Show, but
I feel like if
you could
would've-
slide him. You could still slide him and just do it real
Yeah.
quick, maybe.
I feel like if you would have used that for the tiebreaker, I'd be in the speed round.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see.
I'm so
likewise, I don't see anyone
Um,
doing the Razor's Edge to the Big Show either.
Right.
I think you could. I think you could probably get someone of equal size and stature. Like if you had two, like big shows, you could do it.
This is tough because like you're like you could legit end somebody's career, and you're like, this is the safer move, and I'm like, both of those are really good arguments.
The stunner has cleave.
And greater cleave, honestly. I've seen Stone Cold give it to most of the
The
administration.
president.
Yeah. Like,
I'm gonna give it to the Razor's Edge.
Ba-boom!
So it's
I'm still losing.
3-2.
Not by as much now, though.
Good point.
That's very true.
I've come from behind.
Yeah, I have to. I'll come from like one.
That's how I prefer to go.
I've seriously been like, dude, I'm trying to tank this, and then won in the fucking speed round.
Okay.
Yeah, you did that when me and you last week. That sucked.
Man, I'm totally gonna get you an energy drink. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
I got really into it.
You really should be. It's
I'm gonna get more beer anyways. Just roll with it.
ruined everything, Matt.
I know.
Matt too. Like
Lesser Matt. Just call me Matt. Not as good.
Matt again.
Matt again.
Matt 2.0.
Matt with
No, that means I'm better.
No, Matt with
V1.
one T.
Not if I'm at 3.
No, I had a friend named Matt with one T, and he was a
Matt
good
with
guy.
one T.
I'm two T's. I'm two T's.
All right, so
I know you are.
He's
The-
TT.
TT.
TT
the
Matt.
next
TT Matt.
speed round question is either who has or what is the best wrestling catchphrase
The Rock.
or catchphrases.
Ric
I win.
Flair.
All right, Ric Flair. Whenever you're ready, I'm ready. 30 seconds.
There will never be a more simple and iconic wrestling catchphrase than the one-syllable utterance of one Richard Flair,
What?
who simply says, that's his shoot name, who simply says, "Woo!"
What?
This is by far the easiest and most recognizable wrestling catchphrase ever. People are still saying it.
What?
Okay, first of all, don't interrupt people in the speed round. Like, that's a legit rule. Please don't do that.
Oh.
This is brotherly love, though, so I understand that this would.
It's also Marky bullshit.
Whenever you're ready.
Before I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready. I was going to apologize. I didn't know it was like a thing. I'm sorry to
Now I know why wrestlers get pissed at the
It's
blood.
fucking bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fucking garbage, man. All right, I'm ready. The Rock has, okay, yeah, like, I will concede that the Woo is iconic to that wrestler, and he has had such an amazing resurrection, but I don't think that Ric Flair, nor his one catchphrase, he is such an impactful promo, but The Rock, goddamn, like, finally The Rock is back. Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Like, jabroni is popular vernacular culture now. Like, normies call people jabronis and not know why. They don't know what the term means, but The Rock popularized that. So much. Sorry.
All right.
I will not interrupt you on this rebuttal, dude. I'm
Never
sorry.
apologize for anything here.
Nah, I owe him an apology because he got legit pissed.
Will you plug the computer in?
Is it not plugged?
Oh, no, I'm not legit pissed. It was just like,
I didn't know the rule like that.
yeah.
And also, that was pretty funny though. Because what is such
Oh.
an annoying thing?
Yeah, I don't have.
I don't do it.
Like when
I'm sorry.
Stone Cold cuts a promo, it's still to this day. What?
Drowning.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. I bet you he hates it.
No, I'm sure. That was like it was great,
Okay, it's good.
and then it didn't die when it should have.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
for
was
sure.
awful.
Okay.
All right. Whenever you're ready, 15 seconds to rebut.
All right. So, if we're going to go for multiple catchphrases, I think there's a litany of Ric Flair catchphrases that have made him a cultural icon inside and outside of professional wrestling. Jet flying, limousine riding, yada yada yada. Everything he said about his.
All right, when you're ready.
His promos aren't nearly at par. Like, they're great. They're like, he is a creator and he is an amazing artist. But The Rock, his popularity of his phrases have broken through common culture. People like don't even more so than Ric Flair.
I'm gonna give it to Ric Flair, man. I'm glad you brought up the jet flying, limousine riding, because for a second I was like, I don't know, because he pointed out that Rock had multiples, and you're like, well, so does Ric Flair. And
Yeah, no, it's like I can't help that I'm custom made.
Yeah,
If you would have said custom made, I would have been like, yep, check this out.
Yeah.
But I can't help that I'm custom made. I can't help it, but I'll tell you
So
this.
Jim got it or Matt got it?
I was spilled
Jim got it.
Jim got
more
it for sure.
liquor.
It's 4 to 2.
But dude, that's again, it's like DX and NWO.
Right.
That's like,
Yeah.
dude, you got two icons that you're arguing about.
Yeah.
But I do feel like The Rock is more over.
Yeah, I thought we were going for singular catchphrases, so I went with the easiest and most.
Well, yeah,
common.
and like it wasn't until after you guys picked, I said or catchphrases.
When you
But
say
that's
plural, that's when I was like, Rock. Rock's got it on plural. But
Um,
for one, like Woo is so over.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
That'll be around long after Ric Flair's.
Dude, what I love is the
just like the what?
the poor kid too. That's why I was mentioning what too, because you were like, there's no one singular what phrase what, because like I think what is up there with like almost too over, but it's
Yeah.
like the
And
opposite. It's like the opposite of woo. You slap someone, you hear woo, but if you like are talking woo or what, you're like, God, that's so annoying.
Well, and also like it like got so over that the crowd was the promo. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna come out here. What? I'm gonna drink some Steve Weisers. What? You know what I mean? And like
316 says I just kicked your ass.
and actually that's a good point. Just Stone Cold in general would have been another really good one. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Austin 316,
Do
Kane
you
Whoop
smell
Ass.
what The Rock is cooking?
What?
It doesn't matter what you.
Dude,
like,
he ruined a whole career with that fucking line.
He
Whenever
started his
whenever
own
Billy Gunn
career.
came out there and was like, "What's your name?" He's like, "My name is." It doesn't matter what you like. No Billy Gunn after that. He went straight downhill.
Back to Mr. Ass for you.
Right?
Get the fuck out of
Chuck
here.
and Billy days. Homophobia.
He's the only one that's making like $1 billion out of all of those other people that were around at that time. So
Who?
The Rock.
Oh yeah.
He started a film career over.
Cena's
at-
kind of doing it too.
but not as not
He's-
nearly.
He's
as,
not as entertaining.
I
He's
actually
at
feel
early
it's like,
rock levels.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
like Rock's a lot.
He's Scorpion King Rock. Right
Yeah.
Yeah, right now.
He even started.
No, I'll even do the. He's the lowdown rock at
Okay.
this point.
Yeah.
I don't know this fucking like fire movie. I actually tried to go actually to theater to see like wrestler movies.
Oh boy.
I do. They're not good,
No.
but I do it because I like wrestlers.
No.
And I'm like, I want you to get more movies.
Biggs
Like the
and Shaw
Batista,
wasn't
that was
great.
good.
And the Batista makes fucking primo fucking
Oh, yeah,
career
Batista's
decisions.
Batista's great.
What was that one with him and the buddy comedy he was in?
Oh, with
Stuber?
Camille
Yeah,
Nanjiani.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was good.
okay.
It was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah,
It wasn't
Batista's
great, but
So it's 4 to 2.
for sure.
Yeah, Drax was great.
He
How
was
many
a
more of these
bonehead.
we got?
He was great in
Catch
Blade
Eye.
Runner 2049.
He
Yeah.
was. You're right.
Like he
Look,
killed that scene.
I hated that movie though.
He makes
Oh, I love
great
it.
career decisions.
He does make good career decisions.
He has a good manager. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So the
In
next
Hollywood.
question
Mm.
or category.
Mm-hmm. What?
What would be, and again, first person to answer will be the second person to go. What would be the best, and this is kind of the title, so let me finish. Best gimmick or face, if you will, of Mick Foley?
Cactus Jack.
I would like to say that it was a Dude Love.
All right, Dude Love, 30 seconds whenever you're ready.
Cactus Jack and Mankind were like the faces just like, and of course I don't like the dude that helped him create it. Like I can't remember his name, but like it was about positivity and just like it was like an over gimmick that like I get to play, and so I like that for him because he didn't have to torture his body. He didn't have to fucking do the extreme things that Mankind and Cactus Jack did. He got to have fun.
Have fun is cut out. You don't get to use that at all.
Oh.
After the
Well,
30 seconds whenever
I
you're ready.
retract have fun.
Cactus Jack was the original and the best gimmick of Mick Foley. Dude Love was fine. He was the fun time, come out and be goofy gimmick. But Cactus Jack won deathmatch tournaments. He was a big deal in WCW. He was a big deal whenever he brought him out in WWF. He was a big deal in ECW. He was a big deal in other places in Japan and FMW as well as the deathmatch tournaments. He was the overall best face of Foley. And yeah, I was about to bullshit from there anyway.
All right, 15-second rebuttal whenever you're ready with Dude Love.
Death matches are what you have to do. Dude Love is what you get to do. Dude Love didn't make his kids cry. Death matches make his kids cry. Dude Love was like a fun, expressive time, and that's why I feel like it went over.
I'm ready when you're ready.
The Cactus Jack death matches weren't in front of his kids. That was Mankind that made his kids cry. And Dude Love didn't even really wrestle. He did like maybe a bullshit tag run with Steve Austin. And most of his wrestling was done under the Cactus Jack gimmick. Spent half that on a rebuttal. Woo!
It's really quiet right now.
I'm thinking real hard.
He didn't.
He's trying to choose his favorite child. What?
His favorite child? Trying to choose his favorite child?
It's me, Dad.
Just for the record, I would have actually accepted Mick Foley as an answer as well.
I like manager Mick Foley a
Yeah.
lot. Like that was my favorite.
Honestly, he spent probably most of his career at this point as Mick Foley, but like
Yeah.
not necessarily in the ring.
Well, that's what I meant. Like
That's who took a
right.
dick flip. It was Mick Foley.
And you pointed out, he spent most of his. I'm gonna give it to Cactus Jack. I really like the
Yeah.
argument. I really like the argument of Dude Love, though. That was great. That it's like Cactus Jack is what you have to do. Dude Love's what you get to do.
Yeah, you earned
And
it.
you didn't have to. He didn't have to believe. He did. That was a really good argument.
Yeah, it really like I feel that too. It's like although I prefer as an entertainment watcher, I prefer Cactus Jack and I prefer Mankind, but like being a wrestler, how much badass would it be? Is like, oh, I don't have to like claw out of fucking barbed wire.
Right.
Awesome!
Honestly,
I get to
would've-
come out with models.
I would have given it to Dude Love, to be honest. Like, I went
It's
in
a
that
really good
thinking it would
argument.
be
Which one? did we get the
Mankind
point to,
versus
though?
Cactus Jack, and then you threw Dude Love out, and you like sold me on it.
Yeah, It was a really good
Like
argument.
Mankind and
It-
Cactus Jack are almost the same dude. Honestly.
Wrestling wise.
Well, one.
But
One
but
had
is
Socko.
it?
Hold
is
on,
it-
Cactus
Right.
Jack doesn't go.
Cactus Jack's not from the boiler room, is he?
No.
Well, and
He's from Truth or
his-
Consequences, New Mexico.
his finisher was double arm DDT for both Cactus Jack and
Mankind.
well, I was gonna say Dude
Oh,
Love. wasn't
Dude
it?
Love, yeah.
Like
yeah.
Mankind was the one that used more of the mandible
Socko,
claw.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he did the mandible claw.
Well, yeah, and if you would have said Mr. Socko, Mankind specifically, no, but I honestly Dude Love would have had it with the argument until you said like Cactus Jack, wasn't in front of his kids. It was Mankind, and like specifically, them being at the pay per view, that scene that
Yeah.
because like I'm sure that they probably watched videos at some point, maybe.
Coincidentally, sidebar conversation here. Have you seen pictures of Noel, like his daughter?
Damn. Oh yeah.
Stacks on
Yeah.
stacks. That shit is hot as shit.
I haven't, but I will
that
look
was-
it up.
Dude, his
point,
daughter
right?
is
It
fucking
was.
amazingly beautiful.
So
Who won
So
the
Jim
the
won.
internet's Jimmy Toledo
yeah.
is the winner with 0.5.
Okay, so if you're tuning in at the end of this, or if you're
I need 2 beers.
I don't know what jobber means. Matt equals jobber.
Me?
That's somebody who's paid to lose, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you jobbed.
The job squad.
How's it feel to look up at the lights?
But anyway, next week is going to be very special. It's the gangbang episode.
Oh my god, you can't say we're gonna get demonetized.
You're all monetized?
No.
That's just a running joke.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's something Corey says twice an episode.
Yeah, at least.
Or something Corey does if we
Yeah.
are monetized twice.
At least
twice to
twice
get
a
us
day.
demonetized.
Essentially, what's going to
Corey, can I have
happen?
a cigarette?
We were going to have our championship on the anniversary, and whoever had the first 3 of us with 5 wins got to be in it.
Yes.
But nobody ended up with 5 wins except for me and Kyle. So
I'll see you in the championship, brother.
How many wins am I at now?
3, I believe.
I'm getting there.
So
I've had
next
1.
episode, we're gonna have 6 people going toe to toe for a slot in the championship.
It's gonna be insane.
It's who is judging?
Be there.
I'm judging.
You're judging.
We have you, Corey. We have Jim. We have Brian. We have Chris.
Rayner.
Noah and Rayner.
Stack Bill.
And
So Royal
It's a hot
Rumble.
card.
It's a,
Yeah.
it's a battle
we're
royale
gonna
for
put
sure.
a bunch of questions that all 6 of them sent me in a cup and draw them out randomly.
Holy
I'm
shit, that's
gonna
what
put
we're
some
gonna
in
do.
there too. And whoever goes through the 2 with the most points by the end of that are gonna go head to head in a 3-question actual round, and the winner of that gets to be in the championship.
We don't want to miss it.
I'm gonna scream a lot.
And so that's going to be a lot of fun. And also, our friend Katie opened a bar, and I'm going to head there. So if you're just tuning in, or if you're catching up, come to the Woods
Yeah,
on
go
4th
check out the
Avenue.
Woods.
Yeah.
I'll be there for a couple hours after this, and she's open, I think, till 10 on weekdays and till 1 on weekends.
Yeah.
So let's go drink there.
Yeah.
Let's go drink at the former press club. Woo!
It's called
Been
the
real
Woods.
dumb debates.
The Woods.
I'll
See
go
you
to
next
catch a
time.
beer with you.
Awesome.
I'll buy you an energy drink on the Woods.
Ah,
Or a beer there. If you want. I'm really handsome on camera.